All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn, but not today. We're going to let it all out for you guys. Today is going to be a real special episode. We got two great guests coming to the barn this morning to have a great conversation with us. This has been a guest that a lot of people have reached out and asked, when are you going to get them on the show? When are you going to get them on the show? When are you going to get them on the show? And we've actually had one of these guys on our show in the past, but it was such an early on episode that I don't know if everybody's seen it. So he's coming back on today to give us an update on everything he's got going on. But before we get into it, you guys know the drill. If you get any value from the show, please share it out with the people that you know. The more that you guys do that, the more that this show grows. The more guests we can have on, the more episodes we can make. It's kind of the ticket to admission to watch or listen to the show, and I guarantee you're going to get a lot of value from this one because there's a lot of good stuff. Another thing you can do to help us out here at Barn Talk is leave a review on Spotify or Apple. The more that you guys do that, the more credibility it gives our show so we can have more guests come to the barn and have great conversations with us. Last thing you can do to help us out here at Barn Talk is support our direct-to-consumer meat business, Farmer Grade, farmergrade.com. Right now, we are running a exclusive farm fresh beef drop with Hilbert Farms, Grant and Spencer Hilbert, here in Iowa that have pretty damn good size YouTube followings that have documented the process of raising cattle from calf all the way to finish. And they're running their beef through Farmer Grade, and you can get it right now. It's limited. They raised 8 head of cattle, and so once it's sold out, it's gone, and can't get any more farm to table than that. So you can always use code BARNTALK to save 10% off your order, and we just appreciate if you want some of that beef, go get it. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I guess I'll kind of get into who's coming on the show today, but two brothers that you guys probably know. They have massive YouTube channels in the agricultural space, both on the video game side and on the personal farming and vlogging side. One of them has built a software company. One of them does YouTube and farms full time, and they both start from scratch and been first generation farmers. And they just are go-getters. I mean, at the end of the day, these guys make no excuses. They want something, they map out how they're going to get it, and they go do it. And they are somebody that I admire personally from afar. I've been working with them and have been talking to them for a long time. And every single time I have a conversation with them, I leave with something.
If you don't learn anything today, you must be asleep.
Yeah.
Because these guys have got motors, and they run in overtime and discipline. And yes, just like you said, they figure out what they want to do, and they figure out how they're going to do it. And they are methodical and great guys.
Great guys. If you're somebody that's a first generation farmer, or if you're somebody that's ever wanted to become a first generation farmer, we get that question all the time. This is the episode for you. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Well, we're live, boys. So Grant and Spencer Hilbert, welcome to Barn Talk.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having us here.
Appreciate you guys making the trip. We had Grant on early on. It's funny. We always get Spotify comments of people going,
"Get Hilberts on.
Get the Hilberts on.
There you
Get
go.
Grant and Spencer on." I'm like, well, we had one on early on, but that was, I think you are our second guest ever.
Behind your uncle, I think.
Behind my Uncle Trent.
That was summer 2021, I think.
Yeah, that was early days of where we were still sitting at the table. So we appreciate you guys making the trip, and we figured got to catch up with what's going on with you, but also have Spencer on because you've got a lot of stuff going on too, man. And everybody loves what you guys are doing. So I guess kick things off. Let's talk about harvest. You guys are in the fields. We're in the fields. What are you seeing? What are you liking? What are you not liking?
Yeah, so we started September 8th on a harvest. I had some corn on corn, 104-day stuff that Southern Rust hit like crazy. because June, July, even Tork, we were talking about this earlier. June, July, you're thinking this is going to be a monster crop. I was going to have a monster crop. Everybody got planted early. Perfect. Then Southern Rust came in that late July, August, and then just burned up the crop, at least where we are for sure. So corn yields aren't that good. Bean yields are, I would say, record for our county, though, but corn yields are pretty rough, it seems like. So we started September 8th, and we finished October 1. So we were done a couple days ago.
Nice.
So.
You have set the bar high because we finished David Zeezer that we farm with, and I didn't even think about this, but as we were driving back to the bins, David said his family, the Zeezer family, the family that settled that was his mother's side, and they were the Rattas. And he said, I'm pretty sure no Zeezer or Ratta ever finished harvest the 2nd of October. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Because the next day I stopped to get a bag of ice, and this lady that was at the grocery store, they hadn't even started harvest because her dad and her son, they decided that they were going to do something to their combine, and they ordered the parts, and then they've been waiting on these parts, and they got into it, and then something else was screwed up, and so they were waiting. So they literally hadn't even started, which normally you'd be like, holy cow, you better get after it. And then I'm like, well, I guess it's only the 3rd of October. Like, there's a lot of years that we're barely rolling. Such a crazy year.
Yeah. September 5th looked like October 5th.
Yeah.
You know, or,
The stock quality was horrible too. We got a windstorm came, had good corn standing, and then boom, all of it's down with the stock quality so bad. So
yeah, a lot of
our stock qualities. We've been getting into ours.
A lot of
It's a little
gooseneck.
sketch. It's a little sketch.
But it's standing. But tomorrow, I don't know. Tomorrow, I don't feel
Windstorm
great about
tomorrow,
that.
right? Or windstorm today.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I think tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
So it's probably good that we got that one hill out. That's like the most exposed
what
place.
was moisture running for you guys?
well, it's dry enough now. It's what
15. I
15.
think the field average is like 15.9.
Yep.
But it varies because you'll run through. Well, for one, not to dig on your aerial applicators, but you can tell this year where somebody flew a little too wide. I don't know whether the drone guys are the same way, but over at David's, he went all the way down to the end of his field and took off.
Oh, yeah.
And he got all excited because that corn jumped
like,
up to like
holy
300. 300.
I know how it is.
And then
Yeah,
he was like, wait. He was talking about what a great number it was. And then he goes, I think this got 2 passes of fungicide because the neighbor sprayed, after he sprayed. Because as soon as we got out of it, it dropped back down. So I think you could have probably made 2-pass fungicide pay this year. I don't know about 3, but yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's what I've heard from everybody is the guys that put on fungicide are pretty happy, and the ones that didn't are feeling it pretty good. And I think chemical guys are pretty happy. I got a friend up in Des Moines that I think he's going to sell a lot of fungicide next year. Because I think there's a lot of people that are going to be like, yep.
Yeah, well,
if it pencils, I don't know. It all seems like it's going to go up.
But you never know. You never know.
If we're going to get 35 inches of rain in the growing season again.
Yeah.
I mean, we had July 1st, August 5th, 18 inches. Every 5 days of rain, 3 inches. And it was 100% humidity for 60 days. So,
yeah. I was telling you guys, when we got here and we start harvest, we're all surprised. We're all like, geez, I thought it'd be better than that. And I was that way. I mean, my corn's 20 to 30 bushel off where it was last year. And on the one hand, you're like, oh, I can't believe that. But then on the other hand, the more you think about it, when you think about that number, how much rain, it's like, well, what the heck did we think was going to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, how's that fertilizer going to stay within grasp of those roots when it just rain,
Gets pounded.
rain.
USDA has, and I think August had Iowa at like 218, which is what Iowa went last year. I think finished out for corn.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't know anybody that has hit last year's yields. A lot of people are 10 to 30% below. I'm 30% below last year. So I'm trying to figure out where is this coming from? It must be the
Yeah.
You said that yesterday. I mean, everybody's saying that.
Yeah.
Around here anyway, too. It's 30% off.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy, big farmer around here. I mean, and he said he hasn't found anything that's not 20 to 30 bushel off where it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
So where do people find you guys with everything that you got going on? Where do they find you? Your socials, all that good stuff.
The main is probably we focus the most on is YouTube. We've kind of done that, and we can get into it more all the way back since high school. So that's kind of our bread and butter, what we've done. And I really enjoy making YouTube videos. So I have a channel, Spencer Hilbert, and then throughout high school I did like a farming simulator channel and called that Spencer TV. And then Grant's the squad, and then Grant Hilbert. So we document kind of our real life farming, and then still do farming simulator. And then Grant's got an Instagram, Hilbert Farms, and I have my own Instagram. That's probably the main stuff. And then here and there we do still like the shorts and Instagram reels and stuff like that. That's mostly all of it.
Yeah, so really two farm sim channels, 2 real life channels, and then Instagram, stuff like that. And then if you want a game, got a mobile game for younger people that like to play and stuff. So
yeah, and that's American farming.
American farming,
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, well, so we got you both here now. So I want to kind of like tell the whole story. I know, Grant, when you first came here years ago, you told your side of it. But now that you both are here together, let's go all the way back to early days to now where you guys are today, best that you can, of just how you guys became first generation farmers. Because, I mean, you would be amazed, and I'm sure you guys get it all the time. How do I start farming? How do I start farming? How do I become a first generation farmer? We get that question all the time, and I always go, well, it's possible.
Yeah.
Grant and Spencer have done it. Like, it's possible, but it's really hard. And so I think you guys have a great story, and just dive into it best way you can.
Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of guys that have, or not many guys, but there's some that have been a first generation. We kind of did it just a little different way than probably most people do. But
Go back to 2014.
Well, yeah. I was going to go back to, I had family. I saw grandparents that farmed in northern Iowa. Always wanted to farm, but at a young age, you realize, okay, that's not going to happen. We're not going to be able to get into the family farm. My dad never farmed. My mom never farmed. Wasn't going to happen. So always kind of had the dream of farming. So then me and my buddy were always interested in entrepreneurship, stuff like that too. And so started a lot of different businesses. Some of them failed, the lawn mowing, stuff like that. But then really we got into YouTube. We saw these like YouTubers. They're like, oh, these guys are buying nice houses. They're making cars. This could be an actual business. So we started a gaming channel, just playing a bunch of different games. And then farming simulator started taking off. I started making videos on farming simulator. Never played the game before, but just posted a video of it on YouTube. A lot of people started watching. And so from there, that kind of started taking off. In 2014 was when we posted that first video. And then from 2014, 2016, it took 2 years to get like 20, 30,000 subscribers. But then 2016, going into college, just like went full on into the channel, posting a video every day during college for those 4 years. And that's really when it took off to like 1 million subscribers and stuff from there. And then from there, use the YouTube money to be able to buy farmland, to be able to buy farm equipment, and to be able to fund a software company and some other investments pretty much. And then those investments got rolling into more ag or snowball effect kind of, I'd say, the way to describe it.
And that was the squad. That
was the squad YouTube channel. Yep. And then 2020 was when I bought my first farm. I just started documenting the journey on a channel called Grant Hilbert.
Yeah.
That's kind of when Spencer got into YouTube more and farming then too.
Yep. Yeah. What's the age?
So I'm 2 years older. So I've kind of always had the older brother role. I told Spencer he got married this summer in June. My best man speech where it was like, hey, I've always been this older brother role that's like 2 years ahead on everything.
Yeah.
But your marriage and your marriage with Josie is something that's like, this is where he's kind of leading that.
Yeah. Yep.
In essence. So
2014 too, Grant just started, and so we're 2 years apart. I graduated high school in 2018, Grant in 2016. So 2014, you're sophomore, junior, you and your buddy made like $600 on YouTube. And we were just, you're just getting to the age of, hey, this part-time job pays $7 an hour. I detasseled at 14. That was really cool. The first, I think, $600 to detassel for 2 weeks. And
you looked at that $600.
Yeah.
And you looked at his $600.
Yeah, it's a little easier playing a video game.
The opportunity cost of these are not the same.
Exactly. Yeah, detasseling was your 14, your first job. That was pretty fun. Yeah. Good stories there, good friends. This is kind of off topic, but last day, get done detasseling. You got mud on your boots. It's dried. It's 3:00. we're joking around, throwing mud out the bus window. And a buddy of mine, we're in the back, chucks the mud out, and it smokes the semi truck's windshield, cracks it. And his whole entire work that summer of detasseling went to pay for that windshield.
On
On the
last
last
day.
day. Yeah, it was tough.
That's
That's a lesson learned, though.
It was a good lesson.
yeah.
Everybody took something away from that. So
oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
for sure.
that was my first kind of experience, any sort of farming or agriculture. And we grew up in the suburbs of Des Moines. So Grant always had a knack just for like tractors, vehicles. You're driving home at 10 o'clock at night, and Grant can point out what brand it is, car, by the taillights or headlights.
Yeah.
So like he was always just paying attention, even though we grew up in the suburbs, between driving by fields and then our extended family and grandparents and our parents grew up on a farm, but but they moved away from that, and then we grew up in the suburbs. So
Yeah, so 2014, you see Grant do that, and then
Yes.
when do you start to kind of like get bit by the bug and say, all right, I want to do something
yes,
similar to that?
It was really when I lent him my laptop.
Oh yeah,
I
the laptop.
lent him my laptop, and I charged him a fee of $50 a month.
It was like
And-
it was a $600 laptop.
yeah, it was
or
a
$1,000
big, my first big purchase. 14
So yeah,
years
I didn't even
old.
own a laptop when I started YouTube. I just rented yours.
Exactly. He rented my laptop. And there's probably some kids watching that know Farm Sim, or even parents that the kid got on the family's desktop PC, and in 3 months the thing's fried because they downloaded a bunch of mods,
Yeah.
which is like add-ins to the game off sketchy websites and viruses. So within 3 months, 4 months, Grant had destroyed my computer that I lent him. And I was like, screw this. I'm going to start my own channel. And I kind of helped him and kind of saw how to edit a video, watch a YouTube video. Hey, click C, that means cut. You can drag things over. So just really, really basic, and kind of viewed it as, hey, look, we were playing sports too. We were busy with school. Grant was a big baseball player. I played football, rugby, all that kind of stuff. And this was just a thing after school to come make a video 3-4 a week while in high school and make $500 a month, $1,000 a month. And it was like, holy cow, this is huge opportunity. And then that's, I guess, when the bug bit me, is actually making money through the internet and working 2 hours a night when you have to go work a Subway job or something to.
And that was
make some money.
2016, 2017, probably when you got started.
Yes, 2017.
Yeah.
so your
What did your-
junior year.
What'd your parents think when you started?
Not much. We were just in the basement, so
No,
they didn't.
know.
I mean,
They weren't like, oh, this is a waste of time. Go get your real job, like how you would think normal parents are.
Yeah.
Because I remember I first got first check from YouTube or whatever, and they were like, oh, that's really awesome. Like they were pretty supportive, pretty neutral on it, I'll call it.
Yeah.
But they weren't like, hey, you're wasting your time playing video games or something like that. Because it was making money. So
Yep.
Yeah. That's cool.
good.
That's
Awesome.
that's good that they supported it. So like when did so you bought your first farm in 2020, Grant?
Yep. 2020, I was still in college when I put my first offer in, but then took a couple months to get that bought, and then bought a couple more late 2020, and then last one was early 2021.
Yeah.
Is when I bought those first couple. And I've exchanged ground. I've 1031 ground to a completely new area, but I haven't really added acres since then, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
And Spencer, when's your first like farming purchase, or kind of your first dabble into farming?
Yeah, and to go back even a little further, both Grant and I went to Iowa State, and so we were doing that while doing the farming simulator, the video game videos, and he bought some land. And at that time, 2018, I was a freshman in college, and I bought like a fixer-upper house. Our parents are into just a couple of rental properties, so like another kind of job we had for chores growing up was like helping them pull a toilet out of a rental, put a new one in. And so we were always pretty interested in just business, investments, saving money, because we saw our parents do it and they taught us kind of different ways to do it. So 2018, I bought a fixer-upper house and fixed it up the summer of freshman year, going into sophomore year, and then fixed it up, lived in it fast, kind of house hack, if you hear that. I was always listening to all the
Real estate.
real
guys.
estate, bigger pockets.
Yeah, bigger pockets. Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. And then in 2022, sold it and then bought farmland with that in April of 2023 at just like an auction, a little rougher ground. And that was actually, Grant was farming down in kind of southern Iowa, Poweshiek, Mahaska County. And then I bought this field, 50 acres. And it was kind of in the area where much closer to home and where we'd probably want to farm like forever or into the future.
Yeah.
because your first buys were just kind of like, what are we doing? Your first field was 40 tillable, 20 CRP, some creek bottom woods.
Yeah,
you were kind of figuring it out.
I didn't really know what I was doing, so I bought ground hour and a half away, kind of Mahaska, Powashik County, Iowa. And then later on, I realized, okay, I want to be kind of closer to home to where we grew up. So it would have been 2023. I 1031 exchanged all 3 of those farms into Story County farmland. And Spencer knew we were going to kind of farm there. So he was actually the first one. When he bought his first farm, he went and bought in Story County ahead before I even bought anything. And then we pretty much moved everything up to Story County, kind of where we grew up, and that's where we're farming now. So
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, you guys make it sound simple, but man,
we went
sounds
pretty
easy
fast. We went pretty fast through it too, just the whole grand scheme of it. But not every day or month, but Grant tried to document it starting out on his channel, showing like, hey, this is, you had a YouTube channel, built it up over 6-7 years. His first, what is it, $1 or $2 million worth of farmland you were still living in our parents' basement. So like that was the idea. Keep your costs low. It was
Maximize.
Working. Yeah, just maximize and
stay lean.
Yeah, stay lean and yeah. So
See, now you talk a good game, pretty smart. Until I saw that video that you bought a baler and you were like baling hay, and I'm like, okay, this kid's not as bright as I thought he was.
Making idiot bale or idiot cubes or something. People call it.
No, I shouldn't say that.
No,
So-
you're good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is not the smartest business. Absolutely.
we call him Hey Boy now.
Oh,
We
yeah.
call him Hey
Yeah.
Boy.
No, so that field that I bought, so I kind of started my YouTube channel then when I bought the land, kind of showed how much I paid for it. And on my channel, Spencer Hilbert, I really try and dive into the numbers. So I showed exactly what I paid for it, my down payment, how I financed it, and all that. And then after the first year, I showed what it made, what were all our costs, how much we paid in interest on the land, and then our input costs for the crop. And so people have really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And especially, I mean, you can't even imagine the number of younger people. Well, I wouldn't even say younger people. There's a lot of people out there my age there's a lot of people my age that are farming, that inherited the farm, that don't know the numbers as well as what you show, because they've just always been in it, And a lot of people that ask that question, how do I get started? How do I get started? How does it work? So
Yeah,
it's great information.
I think it's awesome that both of you guys started the Farm Sim channels, then started your own channels, and on those own channels, you guys are documenting every step of the process. I mean, that's so cool, and it's kind of like your guys's, I wouldn't say niche, because there's a lot of farming videos being posted on YouTube, but
How do you
your
be
guys
different?
is you guys, I feel like you separate yourself because it's like, hey, we're first generation farmers just trying to figure this shit out. Come along, we'll just show you the process. And that's what we need, because it's like we've talked before, Spencer, everybody sees the cars, everybody sees the stuff, but nobody tells you, how much does it cost? How did you finance it? Did you pay cash for it?
Or am I just renting this?
Yeah, and so you guys showing the reality of it, I think it's awesome. It's freaking awesome. So kudos to you guys for that, for sure.
So now that you are a farmer, what's something that you wish you would have known going into it? Or two, coming from outside the world of ag, is there anything that you've run into in farming that you're like, yeah, this absolutely makes no sense, that we all as farmers do? Not to put you on the spot, but I was just thinking about that.
Something that I realized since farming is how important drainage is in farms. Just like I never realized it when I saw guys putting in tile. I was like, didn't realize it, but how important it is to either have a farm that has slope to it or a farm that has artificial drainage if it's flat. That's probably been the number one biggest realization for growing a good crop is literally you got to have drainage on these farms. And when I go buy a piece of farm, number one question is, what's the drainage situation look like? I'd say. Otherwise, everything else has been, I mean, not easy, but somewhat straightforward.
Yeah, what you expected.
It's just one of those things that I never thought about at all when I first purchased some farmland.
Yeah. Where was I at? Where were we at? Were we together? I I wish I could remember who said this because he was spot on. But he said, today, there's a million things that are being marketed to farmers that are going to pay you X number of dollars an acre.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, the only two things that I know of that are guaranteed that will make you money is tile and on-farm grain storage.
Well, that
That's what
was
he
Farm
said.
for Profits podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's
'cause
right.
We asked him, what insights have you learned from all the podcasts you've done?
Yeah, that was Whitaker.
What makes farmers the most money, or what's the best thing that they can do for their operation to make it more profitable?
Yeah.
And grain bin storage and tile. That was their two things that they said. So I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, and point to that with tile, once you have the drainage correctly, at least I'm kind of seeing all the synergies of fungicide, of proper nitrogen, of proper fertility out there, like work a ton better once you have that tile fixed right. So it's kind of some of those products do work better once you have the ground the crop being able to breathe. So
none of that does anything if your corn crop drowns out.
Exactly.
Yeah, nothing's gonna grow.
It does not help.
Exactly.
No.
And so we bought a tile plow.
Last fall.
Yeah, last fall. And your first time doing it was like 2022 with
Iowan farmer.
Iowan
Yeah,
farmer.
yeah,
Ben.
Ben.
Yep.
And so he came out with his quad track and in his tile plow. And that was the best way for us to learn on all this is probably just doing it. So we had him come out, hey, you're going to make sure this is done right. And we're just going to get dirty and figure things out and watch what you do. So we did that, tiled, 50, 60 acres, went through the full process, and then got a 3-point tile plow on your 8R front wheel assist tractor, and that worked out good. Sometimes we got to hook up and pull, but last fall would have been the first time putting something in the ground. So we kind of documented that and doing it, and then that field we just finished harvesting earlier this week and stuff, and it looked like no drown out spots. We got so much rain this year. There were spots you could have walked out there knee high. There would have been sitting in water, and in 4 or 5 days it slowly drained down, and something grew, and actually put an ear on where you would have. I'm sure we would have had probably 4 to 5 acres just zero.
Oh yeah,
easily on that. Let alone the perimeter would have been 50 bushel versus what it was doing. So
I'm just curious. So like do you guys have roles like harvest just happen? Is one of you guys the dedicated grain cart guy? Is one of you guys the dedicated combine guy? Or do you guys just go,
No.
here, you get in there because I'm busy with this. Just get in there.
Every year has been different because this is the first full year where we actually did something. Like last year, we harvested 160 acres. This year was the first time we were actually farming.
We were transitioning a lot last year, previous years. Yeah.
No year has been the same, so we still.
This year where you had all the farms in one county where it's like you got all your equipment up there, you can do everything else. Yeah.
And we had a semi this year as well. So you sold your wagons, bought a semi, and in hindsight, the semi had some issues, and you sold the wagons, and then we were sitting there. Oh wait, we have nothing to move grain here for like a week or two.
But even 2023, we drove the tractor 80 miles to go plant 150-acre farm because this is his first farm. So I guess when it's his farmland, I always try and let him run the combine. When it's mine, I always run the combine. Like part of this farming thing is just enjoy it. Like literally enjoy it. So if it's your farm that you just purchased last year, go run the combine. I'll go run truck or grain cart. So
yeah, we aren't in a big rush at all.
Yeah.
So we switch out roles a lot.
Yeah. Did you get your CDL or did you just, because you don't have to have your CDL, right? If it's so much, it's on your own ground, right?
If you're just hauling your own grain, not for hire, and doing your own thing. No, we just jumped in it and
so did anybody teach you or did you just?
No, just jump in the truck and go.
No, that sounds kind of bad. But no, we had experience. It wasn't just like somebody we'd driven manual vehicles, and these were automatics, and we'd driven, pulled wagons down the road. I would argue jumping in a semi, so far from my experience, is safer than wagons. And
what's like a story? Like there's got to be some shit moments.
Well, in 2023, Spencer
2022
or 2023, Spencer bought a military truck. And if any listeners watch the YouTube channels, they'll know what truck I'm talking about. But it's got a, what is it, 6x6?
Was it an Oshkosh?
It's a 5-ton military truck, 1979.
So Spencer spent probably a week building a custom hitch for it because the hitch is super high because it's an off-road one. So he built a custom hitch. We put a 650 bushel Brent wagon on the back of it. And we were hauling, we harvested a lot of acres with it. We'd pull it into town across the elevator scale and worked good. But the thing is, you could never get a strong enough, hitch pin to hold that 650
At the end of harvest 2022, we were last wagon came in, and I go back to the back of the truck, and the hitch bin sheared, so the actual hitch was there. It was just hanging on by the bolt was halfway out. So that was a little sketch.
And after that, I was just like, no, we're not using this. Is stupid. We use this. Yeah, it was fun, but we're not gonna. This is stupid.
Don't want to risk that.
The hitch I welded up and everything. I went all out, inch thick plates and just everything, and it was kind of bought a welder that winter or whatever, and just was messing around. And the inspiration came from Ag Talk. There were some pictures of old guys running 5-ton military trucks pulling 2 wagons. And it was more just for fun and stuff, and good for videos too. So part of the stuff we're doing too, we aren't farming enough acres. Half the fun and half of the reason we're out there is to film cool and fun YouTube videos too. So we're focusing, mainly focusing on that. At least I am. Like right now, we just got done with harvest. I guess my role is kind of, Grant sometimes forgets to grab the camera or anything, and I kind of keep us on track for making videos. Otherwise, I wouldn't have any videos out, and I'm sure you guys have similar.
You ever have to force like Tork to say, hey,
I just did last night. I said, hey guys, I got on the radio. I said, and I gave David a GoPro too. I said, hey guys, how's the vlogging going today? And they're like, oh, I got 5 clips. Oh, I got this. And I'm like, okay, just making sure. Because, the last thing you want is to waste a day. I mean, there are days where I'm just like, I'm not bringing the cameras. I just want to, just enjoy this right now. I don't want to film, because you guys know it's a job to just, you're already thinking a lot, and then adding that on top of it of thinking about your next shot and everything. It just makes it even more like you can't enjoy it as much. But yeah, last night I was like, hey guys, you got the footage going? Because I know that if you start shooting in a day, you gotta get enough footage to make that a video. So you don't want to like, hey, we're going to this field, and then nobody shoots anything the rest of the time, and then you can't make a video out of it. So
and we're very lucky in the fact that I don't know how, because wouldn't you say that when we started down this road, the first time that we asked David, for the first couple years that we were doing this, we didn't even ask David.
Yeah, I was too chicken shit, because I was like, well, I don't know if he'll want to even be on camera.
We really didn't even think about it, but to know him the way that I did, and so his dad custom farmed for us, and then David kind of took over the operation. And David is like halfway between Sawyer's age and my age, so we're all like right in there. But yeah, we didn't even think about like giving him a camera. We just shot everything ourselves, and then we asked him. And now I'm like kicking myself, because some of the commentary that he does, it's better than anything that Sawyer and I put out. I mean, he has some of the best.
Yeah, he's got.
You couldn't ask for a better partner.
Yeah.
Like, we couldn't have coached somebody to put out as good a content as David does.
Yeah, having that combine view is huge. And just like, and then like last night, throwing the drone up while you're running the grain cart, like you just got to be so on with it, and just like. So, but
that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, I just wish I had somebody dedicated that'd be like, just throw the drone up. Because it just adds more to the.
And part of it too, it seems like a hassle, but then it's like the mindset of like, man, this is the easiest stuff ever. All we do is carry around a camera and just talk. It's at the end of the day, it's extremely like easy and stuff. And you always get that thought where it's like, why am I complaining about this? We should just go out and do it. Kind of.
Yeah, I think when we first time ever getting a paycheck from Google AdSense and making a YouTube video, I'm like, holy cow, my grandparents wouldn't be able to believe this. And then my grandparents would never be able to believe that you can hold a camera and farm, and people would then watch it, and then you can get paid for that. So it's like, put that in perspective. It's absolutely crazy opportunity. And they wouldn't even believe it. And then they would probably say, why is not everybody having a camera right now and just filming what you're doing anyway? Yeah. Not everybody can have a YouTube channel. And if everybody did it, it's like anything, becomes a commodity. But
I think it's really cool, the legacy part of it too. Like, I mean, especially for you guys, like documenting your start like from the
Yep.
very beginning. I mean, your kids someday that and your grandkids. I mean, that's so cool that they're gonna have that. That's what I think about too. You know, I started, I think when I was 19.
Yep.
Started making YouTube videos on the farm, just showing what I did, and I don't even watch those because it's just cringy. I sucked. I didn't know what I was doing, but it'll be cool to look back on that someday. And that's, I think that's kind of a secondhand benefit of doing it.
Yeah, kind of like a daily journal, everybody
Yeah.
says. And even back in the olden days, your grandkids are reading the grandpa's journal that he wrote every month in. And there's value to writing that down. And so now there's value just going back 1 or 2 years and watching one of our videos. And you're like, holy cow, I can get inside of my mind of a 22-year-old, and now I'm 25, and be like, look at how much we've grown or different ideas we have. And then I mean, the only way to predict the future is to study the past. So when you watch your old videos and the way you thought, you're like, it just speeds up the learning curve for yourself, personal, and then just anything else. So
I'm just looking forward to it so that when my grandkids come to me and are like, Grandpa, Dad is such a dick, I can go, no, come here. Show them the video and say, see, he really was a nice guy.
yeah,
He's,
yeah.
you know, back in the day, he wasn't always terrible.
Oh, well, I just will tell them that you made me that way. All the stress and stuff you put on me. That's
Yep.
why I'm the way I am today.
What was that meme that I sent you yesterday?
And I'll probably actually say the same to them.
This is
They'll
the
probably be
perfect-
like, why is Grandpa such a dick? And I'll be
This-
like, well, he wasn't always that way.
Maturing is realizing that Dad didn't mean to be an asshole. He just wanted you to succeed in a world full of losers with no work ethic.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, Dad sent that to me sent that to my brother and I last night randomly. I was like, okay.
I saw that and I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's it.
Your real intention.
That's
That's
it.
good. That's
I was
good.
really just trying to help
Yeah. Well, I think you did some good.
a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. So where's the operation today? You guys talked about your farming, grain farming, but Spencer, you've gotten a little bit into livestock, or both you have a little bit. Talk about that. And then I guess talk a little bit about where you want to take the farm. You know, what's the future look like?
yeah, I can hit the livestock part, and Grant, I'll let you take over the future part. But just it would be January of this year, bought some feeder calves, and we fed them out over the last, we just brought them to a locker a couple of weeks ago, and then just got harvested and processed. So it's and this morning I just posted a video showing the whole process. So it's like a 50-minute long video going from April 2024 of the calf being born, bring it all the way to today, in everything that we did, from putting them on feed and all the little in between. So that's how we got into livestock by actually meeting a neighbor. So I mean, right now we're like renting a shed. We don't have any infrastructure. We just moved up here. And before renting the shed that some of our equipment's in, we were just going to park it on a tree line. The field I bought has a nice off the road tree line. We're just going to kind of park it there. And so anyway, I met a neighbor, Adam, and he just had kind of a part-time after work kind of thing. And he just feeds out a few head of cattle. And so we're like, oh, this is cool. A mile away from my field and stuff. And I sold him some hay bales in 2024. Some round bales, not square bales.
Yep.
So he's smart enough not to mess with the square bales. And so just kind of, we've been really working with neighbors a lot too. That's been fun.
I'd say that's the one thing. Well, you do a lot. Well, we both do, but there's a lot of big farmers around our area, like 10, 15,000 acre, 5,000 acre farmers. But then there's like a lot of smaller guys too. And it seems like we work a lot with a lot of guys trading equipment, getting to know our neighbors a lot.
Yes.
Kind of like maybe like the 90s or 80s or 70s when people work together a lot. It feels like, at least.
Yep.
Yeah.
That like
We had a track
trade a
skid
lot.
loader. We trade them that. We use this manure spreader.
Yeah. It's
and
fun.
It is
great.
very fun. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's cool.
So we bought those feeder calves to then have our neighbor Adam kind of custom feed. And Grant and I didn't have a cat or dog growing up, or just fish. And so I have no clue of how to raise anything. And so Adam kind of was kind of had the reins on that, and I kind of helped him over this past winter, spring, and summer, and he was showing me how it all works. And then I videoed every couple of weeks, gave an update, how many pounds they're gaining, and how we're doing everything. And and made hay this summer, and it's going to his little cow herd for this upcoming winter. So that was kind of fun. Learned a bunch, and then we're actually going to bring him out on corn stalks here in like a week or two, and we're going to be we have virtual collars on them.
Yeah.
So I made a video a couple of months ago. I need to do an update on like how the whole summer worked, but bought some virtual collars, just like think of dog collars, goes around their neck. I don't know, they might weigh like 2.5 pounds, solar panel on the side, and then you have an app on your phone. You can also get on your computer, and you set a virtual perimeter. So we train them in a 5-acre pasture with a good perimeter. You don't just let them go, and then they're out in the neighbor's field during the summer. That would be bad. So had a perimeter fence, and then instead of running poly wire and sectioning half an acre off, we just use the collars, and they learn pretty quick. Within like 3 or 4 days, there was a stat. The collars deem the cows are trained by if they come up to the virtual fence and they back away 80% of the time and they get a little pulse if they run through the virtual fence. And within 3 days, they would hear a little audible noise and they would turn around in like day 2. So that was cool. But in a couple weeks here, finish the cornfield, and some of that grain will go. We fixed up a bin this summer. We'll throw 3,000 bushel in there. He'll use that for the next year, and then bring the herd out with the collars. And there's a railroad, there's a creek, neighbors on both north and south end, 60-acre field, and we'll see if they'll stay in the field with the virtual collars. So that'll be cool to see.
Yeah, that'll hopefully they stay in the field, and if they don't, it'll be a shit show, but it also make really good
Great
content.
Exactly.
What brand of collars are you using?
It's E-Shepherd, so Gallagher. I know there's a bunch of other brands, and I'm pretty sure all this stuff is kind of out of like Australia, is my understanding, where it kind of passed like 3 or 4 years. And so, I think we paid, gosh, I'm forgetting the numbers now. It's in the video I made. I think like $300 a collar. Then you paid $2 a month for subscription just so you have the satellite. They work pretty good.
I've got a neighbor, a guy that I'm on corn growers with, that they grain farm. And I mean, that was like all I ever knew that they did. And then he told me that he has like a cow herd, not very big. I can't remember if it's like, maybe they got 15 cows or something like that. And I was like, where in the hell do you have these cows? And he goes, oh, we just have them on all our waterways. And I said, well, how do you keep them? And he told me I think this is the 3rd year that they've done it, 3rd or 4th. And they just move them.
Yeah.
In the middle of summer when the crops come, they'll have them on a waterway.
They move them. Yeah, really? They have them in waterways, and they keep them in there. And I was like, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is.
That's crazy.
They don't have the mindset of my old German Shepherd, because he had a collar. But if he just decided that he really wanted to go, he knew if he just took off and ran full sprint, the pain wasn't going to last very long, and he would just
book it through,
barrel through.
Once they discover these collars are the same, you get 20 feet beyond the virtual perimeter, they're free unless they come back in. So if they learn that, then you got to somehow train them. You got to do something.
Or they go to the sale barn.
That's right. So.
Yeah. Well, okay. I kind of led to this a little bit in the intro, but where are you taking the cattle, to get processed, and what's the end result going to be like?
Yes.
For the beef you raise.
So we just brought them to the locker here 2 weeks ago, and then just got processed, and then now we're listing them on farmer grade. So working with Sawyer here, and we'll what's cool about it. And you mentioned the square bales earlier. We're farming here mainly kind of for fun and enjoyment. And in the first time I ever made some square bales, sold it to a horse lady, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. She's going to use this. I see where it goes to the end consumer. And so that was kind of the livestock thing too, a little more, I'm raising something here on our farm, and it's somebody who watches our videos can consume it. And so, and then saw that you were doing farmer grade, Sawyer, and it was like, okay, let's raise these 5 head here and get them on farmer grade, and then people who watch the videos can actually consume something that we produce on the farm rather than just corn and soybeans. So that's where kind of the inspiration came from, and trying different things like the collars and working with my neighbor Adam. Got lucky. Could absolutely never do this without Adam. I mean, he's grew up on a farm, super good to work with. He's in the videos, kind of similar to your. You hand somebody a camera and he enjoys it. So
And the meat's live as of now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
ready to
Yeah.
purchase.
On farmer grade.
Yeah. Well, I talked about it in the intro, but I mean, when I started farmer grade, I always say on here, like, it's all about transparency. We're trying to work with the most well-known livestock farmers in America. And we worked with Sunny Farms in the past. And, I always watched your guys' videos and I was just like, man, guys are in Iowa. You're documenting what you do. Like, I always would put it in your ear, like, just raise 5 head.
Yeah.
Just whenever you're ready, just let me know. And like, we'll get it going. So yeah, it's live right now. You guys can buy Hilbert's Farm beef on farmergrade.com right now. That's literally got processed 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So like, it's going in our freezer this week and then next week. And then we're going to start sending orders out. So, pretty damn cool. And like Spencer literally documented the entire process. Like you said today, dropped a video, 50-minute video, just showing the whole process of them raising these beef on their farm. And that's the best part. That's the best part. That's what farmer grade's all about at the end of the day, is that true transparency of like actually knowing where your food comes from. Yeah. So it's freaking awesome. I'm excited, and you guys have been awesome to work with like the entire way. And Adam, I went out to your guys' place, Adam's place, met him. Great guy. Like absolutely great guy. He's a meat scientist, right?
Yeah.
He's like
he goes all over. He
mile
goes to
away
Europe,
from the farm.
He goes,
Like
perfect situation.
I told Dad, like, you need to meet Adam. We need to have him on the podcast because like the stuff he knows about meat is just like absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So
Sawyer he's very proud of this deal because I'll just tell you, he told me that I can't help pack out any of your guys' beef. Yep. Because he knows that I'll try to throw it on the ground and break the seal. And he told me you can't have any of these steaks. Yeah, because the rule is if you drop, if a broken seal happens, we're not going to send that, obviously. Yep. So we'll take that home and grill it up. And, I try to pay the help sometimes with some meat. And I just he's become a liability because sometimes you'll catch him and tapping it on here.
Well, I already put my order in August 1st.
I saw it come through.
You saw it come through.
We'll have it ready. We'll be sending it out.
I had to
here
make
quick.
sure the process worked good and everything went through and free shipping on that. And
I'll just have to watch the video because I won't be able to have any.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We taste tested it. We brought some in, taste tested it.
Yeah.
And, it's been a fun journey and then super excited. I think my parents are already put in an order and a few things like that. So it'll be cool when the box gets there, see our picture and it's been fun. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a niche in our world today that people really people are kind of craving that. Like they like the idea because the biggest problem we have, I feel like kind of in our society, like most things that people are pissed about, if you boil it all down, it comes down to trust. Whether it's you don't trust the government or you don't trust this or you don't trust that. Well, on the food side, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the people that are doing it. And you're not the only one doing it, but just getting that connection back to, hey, these are the people that they obviously care about what they're doing and, this is where it came from. And
I mean,
it's a great opportunity.
The thing is, the big packers aren't going to do that. Like, they can't do that. They're all about efficiency. And so, like, that's where.
And I have offered. I'm like, come on, Triumph. You can put my picture on the back of a pack of Daly's bacon with my pitchfork standing in front of my Red Barn. I just want a penny a slice. That's all I want.
Penny a slice.
Like, just think of what I could be. Because if I actually was the Tork after the toilet paper at the truck stop, if I got a penny a wipe and if I got a penny a slice, life would be good.
You'd be sipping on a Mai Tai. Yeah, you probably wouldn't even be fitting in that chair.
Yeah. So you just have to wheel me around.
That's funny.
No, but transparency.
Sorry, I digress.
No, you're good.
I was daydreaming there a little bit.
Well, what about the future? So you guys kind of laid out what the farm looks like today. Where do you want it to go? What do you want it to look like?
So I'd say on the farming, the row crop side, want to grow that, but I'm not in a crazy hurry. I'm like, okay, there's going to be a lot available for rent. You just keep doing the right things. Like, you're going to slowly progress and grow. So I'm not trying to grow crazy on that, but my goal was always to farm full time. That's kind of still my goal, but I feel like, or I've always wanted to also have some side businesses going or some kind of entrepreneurial thing. So run the software company right now. We're building that. So we built American Farming, and then we're working on a bunch of projects and scaling that. I've got a project manager in now that runs that day to day. So it's kind of eased everything on that front where I can focus more on farming or YouTube or anything like that. So yeah, that's kind of where we want to go. It's just, you don't have to grow crazy big. Just, I'm more of enjoy the farming, enjoy the process. Don't grow so big to where like you just hate life. Just enjoy it. And that's kind of where I'm trying to go along with
and the only
growing
way
some businesses.
The only way you were able to start farming is because of these other things we were doing. So it's like you wouldn't, and we enjoy doing these things too. I mean, we don't have regular hours. Sure, at times we got to stay up a little later, and we're our own boss. But I think at 14 years old, 15 years old, we knew we wanted to have an atypical job, career, do our own thing. And so we kind of found that and understand that we're extremely fortunate to be able to, on a random Tuesday, or come up here, do anything at any time. So super, don't want to go too far away from that also, but enjoy farming too.
Yeah. So you feel like for both of you, do you feel like the long-term plan and goal is just to, like you said, full-time farm? Like if you could retire someday and just be a farmer, is that what you're going for?
I always said if I was a billionaire, I would be farming 2,000 acres. Like I wouldn't be down in Florida on a beach somewhere. I mean, maybe a little bit, but more. It's like that disgusts me down in Florida. I want to be in Iowa, I want to farm 1,000, 2,000 acres, and I want to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Like that's
just farmer at the end of the day.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what you want.
It's pure enjoyment. So.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I always remember when I was selling hog sheds, we built we built a lot of stuff in Missouri, but we built a big complex down north of Columbia, Missouri. And we were there for, all summer. And there was this group of farmers. And every day they would just show up there at the job site on their side-by-sides because it was the most exciting thing going on, So they would just go and they'd stand around there and watch. And it really set the hook for me of what farmer retirement should be, because these guys would be there, about 10 o'clock. They'd come rolling in their side-by-sides, and they'd sit there and talk for a while. And then one would be like, well, I think I'm going to go get a slice of pie at the cafe. So then they would leave, and then they'd come back after lunch, at like 2 o'clock, and they'd be like, about 3 o'clock, they'd be like, well, I think I'm going to go get a nap in, and then I'm going to go to the cafe and get a bite to eat. And I thought, I think these guys have got to figure it out, because pie and naps and a side-by-side ride, I think I could work my way into that.
Yeah, it wasn't spring. Was it spring or fall? When was it?
Well, I think these guys were pretty much. I think most of them were cattle. They had cattle, and if they had row crop, I don't know if they farmed, but I think a lot of them rented their row crop out and just had their cows, and they had it figured out.
Yep,
they had it figured out. So that's what I'm striving for. Try not to mess it up for me, Sawyer. Try to not mess it up.
Yeah, I'll try. I'm trying my best. You make it hard sometimes. So.
I know I do. I am kind of a liability.
Yeah, you are.
Go
ahead.
Well, let's talk about American Farmer.
Okay, yeah.
So what was the itch on that? Because you obviously spent a lot of time playing Farm Simulator, but you got the bug that you're like, what was it that drove you to go down that road?
It was more so like, okay, so from 2014 to 2020, I played Farming Simulator. That last 4 years there, I played that every day, posted a video every day on YouTube. I was like, okay, well, the company that makes this game, they make it great. They're smart, but they're over in Europe. And everybody on the North American side complains this game is not like North Americanized. Like it looks nothing like Iowa, nothing like the Midwest. It's very Europeanized. So I was like, okay, here's a perfect opportunity. You're like one of the biggest farm simulator YouTubers. So you have the marketing down already for the company. Now you just need to go build this. Let's go build an Americanized farming simulation game. So we started on mobile, and in 2020, right out of college, I just started hiring a bunch of developers, artists, just on LinkedIn, interviewing all these guys. And then once you get one down, then another one's like, hey, I got a buddy who's really good. And it kind of snowballs into creating a team. And then it took 3 years to build that game, a little longer than it should have. And then we launched that in November 2023. And now we're working on a couple more projects and just scaling the company and getting the right people in place. I feel like that's huge to have the right project managers in place to scale that and building a lot more stuff coming. So yeah, it's one of those dreams where it's like, let's go after that, and kind of pulled it off the first game and working on some more stuff now.
So at any time during that, you have a gift.
Yeah, he makes shit
You could
so
take,
easy.
You could take. I'd like to have you like narrate D-Day. Like,
So pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty much. You just get. So at any time from the time you thought, this would be awesome to make an Americanized version of this, and I would love to do it. At any time during that process, did you wake up and go, "What in the absolute have I done?" Like, why?
No, there wasn't a moment where I was like scared, like I've got way too much capital invested, we're not going to get it out, anything like that. No, there wasn't a moment. It was just like, okay, I know. I was pretty confident. Whether it's delusional confidence, I don't know, but I was pretty confident in the fact that we could get this done and get it built, and it'd sell pretty well.
Just the grind of doing it.
Yeah,
just had to grind it out.
Was there any struggles? Like, was there anything that was like you look back and was like, man, that was hard, but we worked through it?
Yeah. There was definitely moments where everybody was freaking out at each other and meetings and stuff like that. But it was like one of those growing pains where, so like we were delayed over a year since when I thought it. So I said I was going to launch in like 2022, and then we finally released in 2023. So through that, like I had all these people like, hey, when's this game going to come out? And the whole, like at the company, we were just rushing to get this thing out. We didn't really know when we were going to get it out. And so it's one of those things where like, yeah, that was definitely a struggle. And, but those people you work with now, like, really well, because you found, like at the lowest times of the company when you were building and you're struggling, you got to know them really, really well. And if you're still working with them today, you have like a really solid relationship now. So now we're in a place where it's like, okay, we can do anything. We got through that tough time of running into some struggles, building some code and stuff like that. And now we can do anything. So yeah, it was definitely a struggle. So I got a couple more gray hairs at 27 years old than I should probably. Yeah. But yeah, it was fun though. I look back and I'm like, that was a heck of an experience. So
yeah, dude, building a game, building an app, building a game. Like I think most people just even thinking of the idea of doing that, they're scared with just even saying it and just everything that it entails and the complexity of it and all that. So like it's when you first told me that you built it, I was like, holy shit, dude, that's wild.
Yeah. And like the hardest thing about it is, okay, like it's easy to build a game for a PC with good graphics because you got this, giant tower that you have all this processing power. But then go put it on this phone. It's extremely tough to run a high graphic game on this phone. So that's the issue is we're always balancing, okay, is the game crashing? Is it burning up phones or is the graphics too poor quality where people are going to complain? So it's like that perfect balance. I mean, we went through like 5-6 months where it's like, why is this crashing on this device? Why is this crashing on this device? And when you think about how many devices, there's probably 1,000 different versions of an Android phone out there that one of them could have a weird processing power that doesn't work. So our game crashes on it. We got people complaining that their game doesn't crash and we screwed them over or something like that. So it's a lot trying to balance it. So.
Yeah. So do you have any plans for that? I mean, you said you're working on future projects. Can you disclose any of those future projects? Not yet.
I can't until we announce it.
Okay. But big things.
But yeah.
People are going to be happy, you think?
Yeah. People are going to be happy and stuff. So yeah. Bigger things coming and yeah.
Yeah, I it's funny because I've gone to a lot of family functions and I've talked to a lot of people and, their kids playing American farming.
Yeah.
And I think you have a lot of kids that love you guys for your farm simulator videos, love that you built that game, but you got a lot of moms that get pissed off because their kids constantly asking
a lot of money on the game.
Yeah, their kids are constantly asking, Mom, I want $1 million more dollars. Can I just buy the in-game cash? Just $10. It's just $10. I got to get this tractor.
Yeah. Well, our project manager, I always thought about that. And our project manager made a really great point. He's like, okay, what does it cost per entertainment time? Like, what does it cost to go to a movie? Mm-hmm. I haven't been to one in years, but what, $10, $15, something like that? Okay. So if you go to a movie for 2 hours, you spend $10, $15. If you spend $10, $15 on a game, kid probably plays that for a week or two. Like the per hour entertainment cost is actually not that low. It's just getting the parent usually, because I've got a lot of moms that come up to me like, you cost me so much money. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but it's kind of how we make money. And and it takes a lot of capital to build this thing. I think I have more money invested in that software company than I do in my farming operation at all. Yeah. So like it takes a lot of capital to build something like that. So.
And the software company, isn't it called Squad Built?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Man, kudos to you. You guys are doing some pretty amazing things. And just outside looking in, I've always just admired what you guys are up to and the journey you're on and all that. And I think a lot of people do. That's why you guys have such a great following, is they just look at your work ethic and your ability to just go in and endure and just go out the outside of the box thinking. What are some tips or what are some pointers that you would give to somebody that wants to become a first generation farmer? What is like the best piece of advice you could give somebody like that? You guys have done it.
If you're probably starting out from ground zero, no relatives, no anything, you live in town, probably the first thing to do is not farm and probably get stabilized, get some sort of income, learn about investing and saving because farming is very expensive, especially to start out. You can start small, absolutely, but if you're going to start small, you're going to have something else going on. And so just looking at us, that's exactly how we did it. We, like I said, Grant, his first piece of ground he bought, he was still living in our parents' basement. So there's some sacrifices that are made. Do you really want it? And then just, you can go out on the curve even more and wait 10 years and be more stabilized and learn. And maybe it's reaching out to a neighbor, helping them just to get some experience. I say our first 3 years, we were paying a lot of tuition payments. But we weren't paying, it was just costing us. So to learn, we were doing it ourselves, making mistakes, from setting up the planter for the first time to just figuring out when to plant, when not to plant, is it too wet to harvest, little things like that. So for sure, have a second side income and do something else. Unless you have a relative, an opportunity, you understand, hey, if I do A, B, C, D, this equals this, and I can make a living off this. Great, do it. But if you're starting out with no background, you have to do something else at the beginning.
Yeah, I look at two different ways if you're starting from scratch, meaning no family connection. You either have, okay, I hop into it right now, I get going and I farm for 20, 30 years and I borrow a bunch of money from the bank, and it's tough. It could be tough on my family. It is extremely tough doing it that way. And maybe I have some small outside job, or in my opinion, I think that the smarter route is to go as a delayed gratification, discipline route of, okay, this is just like any other business. I'm going to save a lot of capital up to invest and start this startup or this business. I'm going to save for 5, 10, 20 years and then get into it once I have a little bit of capital and some outside income source, is how I viewed it. And then it's like, okay, I put the hard work in up front, even though it was tough. I wasn't able to farm for 5, 10, 20 years. And then now I'm able to farm, but it's a little easier farming. It's not stressful on my family. We got some outside income helping fund the farm, because obviously you guys know it's extremely competitive out there. So if you're starting from scratch, it's so much easier if you have a little bit of capital or some outside income behind you supporting that. I feel like then when times are tough, you can get a little more aggressive with some of that outside income. That's how I've personally viewed it.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. That's the way I've always said it on here. Yeah. I've always alluded to you guys, what you did. 'Cause it's like, you can try to go work for a farmer and, be his left hand, right hand man and, learn everything that he knows. And maybe he'll sell you a piece someday and get you started. But can you trust that? Can you put your faith in that versus betting on yourself? Go make the money outside of farming, then get into it. It just seems like that's the best way.
Well, or you just get a copy of the plat book for wherever you're at, and then watch the obituaries. And
you got so many smart ass comments today. Holy shit! Oh my gosh, it's a good joke though. Plat book is a good one.
Yeah. Well,
you can always see who you need to marry, who's up. So,
and if
people have married for worse.
If there's like a 18 or to 22-year-old kid watching that's on the family farm, probably a really important thing to do is somehow get skin in the game early, and earlier the better. So whether that's I don't know, your family's buying an 80-acre field 2 years from now, and you're putting in, and you're buying 10 acres there through that some way. Just somehow get skin in the game, and then you learn a lot more when you have skin in the game. And you kind of feel, oh, wait, this isn't for me. This is too much risk. I don't feel comfortable. This just isn't a good business. And at times, most of the time, farming isn't a good business. And so if you don't want to do it, you should probably get a little feel for it before you dive all the way in. So that's one thing. And then probably don't over leverage. So the first field I bought, April 2023, I'm predicting the future here, so understand that. But if we zoom out in the next 10 years, I probably bought the top in land. Let's zoom out 5 years. I probably bought the top in land, but I try not to overextend myself. And if that comes down 30, 40%, we're fine. I can make the payments with no farm income because we have other off-farm income. So don't overextend yourself in that way. Then you have stress and worry. And but we do believe too, when we started farming, we were buying ground, and so understanding that that's an asset you want to hold, you want to buy, get equity in. And so that's
Leverage.
Yeah, leverage, and there is power to debt. I'm not saying don't use leverage, but don't overextend yourself. But over the long term, debt's usually a good thing to use as a tool.
I guess if you look at the farming operations over the past 20, 30 years, and you guys have talked about this, I mean, it's really like what's really grew the balance sheet is owning the land, having that equity and that leverage tied to you. And so with farming, it's almost a lot, 75% of it's probably a real estate play of just owning the asset and not just renting all the ground or something like that. I know it's tough, easy to say, tough to do to own the asset, but that's where a lot of people have made a lot of wealth over the past decades.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the play we've tried to go at too, obviously.
There's some people that have bought land at the opportune time where that 10 years down the road, they look back and they say, wow, that was a really good deal. And if you hold it long enough, you will say it was. But part of it is, I just think, and I don't think people realize this, when you buy something like a house or a rental property, it's kind of the same, but it's not, in the fact that when the going gets tough, you can flip that, and people flip them all the time. You know, they get out of it. Like when I started and I built those hog sheds, you're not flipping them. You're stuck, which that can be a little scary, but at the same time, it disciplines you that, okay, I got to make this work. I got to do whatever I got to do. And farmland's the same way. And then when you get over that hump on the back side of it, then you can feel real smart, and people are like, that turned out right. Well, part of it is it's an asset where it disciplines you, because once you're in it, you're probably not getting out of it until, it's paid for. And so it's just more like, it's more of a concrete deal when you get into the farming, when you get into ag real estate. You probably are going to, once you make that commitment, you're probably going to see it through, which is probably a good thing.
It's a forced savings account, kind of.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yep. That is 100% right. One thing I'll say to you two, and we say this to each other, I think and it's not for everybody, to your point, like, you might get into something and then you realize that that's too much risk for you and you don't want to do it. But for us, man, it is, even when something's not when one of the things you're doing is not very profitable. And like for us, we always make the comment, grain farming is not very profitable for us. But all of the other things that we're doing, we hope at least one of those things is profitable at any given time. But what a blessing it is to not be limited. Like, our biggest thing is, for the amount of time we have, we aren't sitting around trying to decide what we should do. we're trying to make the decision, do we do this or do we do that? Like, we have way more opportunities than we have time. And I think I think you guys are kind of the same way. And that is a great, like, that's what keeps us going, is it's like, we know, we're just thankful that we're not like capped.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it doesn't hurt to have options. I mean, that's always good to know that you have opportunities. Hard thing is to say no.
Oh, definitely.
Always say no. Saying no to opportunities is the hardest part, because the more you do, the more you do something, the more successful you become. The more people want to work with you, or there's more opportunities there are that you can capture and potentially do. But I mean, you know this, any business that you go into, any partnership you go into, there's a lot more to it than just what it seems on the outside, And so just deciphering those opportunities is the hardest part. But yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, I wouldn't want to be doing it any other way. Yeah. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of hard work. I mean, the thing that you guys were talking about, the part of advice to a first generation farmer, but something else that I don't think you guys kind of touched over a little bit. You guys didn't party in college. Like, you guys grinded.
No, yeah.
I mean, like, the mindset too is like, okay, people say they want to farm, but are you willing to give up going to frat parties?
How bad do you want it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that part of it, the mindset you guys had too of, yeah, you guys on paper, this is how you did it, but also, like, you did the actions and had the discipline to not do the sexy thing or the thing you're supposed to do this in this age, to go after what you wanted. And there's a lot of people that say they want something, but their actions don't mean that.
So they're buying a brand new BMW or a super nice car, you bought a tractor. Things like that hold their value more.
I mean, to be fair, an John Deere tractor, in my mind, it's very similar to an
But you could have bought a Deutz for less.
In today's world, though, people would gravitate towards, I would rather have the nice car than the tractor. But you understand. You're right. The tractor to you is the good looking car.
Yeah.
It's reverse. So
But during college, I don't think I went to a single party. The amount of beers I drank, I could count on hand pretty much. But yeah, it was just stay disciplined. And, eventually in the future, these things compound and they'll pay off in the future. If you stay disciplined on a half a decade or a decade period, at least they'll start paying off.
Yeah. And we were always, we played sports through high school. So some young kid watching this right now, that's a great way to build discipline. Go out for wrestling, football, coming up this winter. Played rugby, enjoyed that. Grant was a really good lefty pitcher. So, it was just, we were always out kind of pushing, always lifting weights, working out, trying to build some discipline there. And we were fairly straight edge. We didn't have to sacrifice. I mean, it's not like we wanted to go out and party. And a lot of times if we did go to a party, we're like, oh, this is not what I want to do, and I actually want to go and do something else and go to work. And so those are almost motivators. A little bit forced and a little bit of discipline, but some of it is natural of just what we wanted to do, and that wasn't. That was like kind of be focused and work on something and build something, because that's in the long run that's what's fun. So
yeah. Well, so today's Whiskey Minute is. Just kidding.
Just kidding. All right, boys.
Just kidding. Alcohol isn't, whatever.
I'm just messing around. Yeah, no, but that's just something that I think I was hearing you guys talk about your story of just like advice, and it's just something that I think people say they want something, but are they willing to do the things or not do the things necessary to go get it? And that's, you guys not only laid out how you wanted to do it, but you went out and you did it. And that's what it takes. That's what it takes, no doubt. Let's change gears a little bit. Where I know when we had Grant on in 21, Bitcoin was a little, you were into it. You were getting, I think you were starting to mine it at that point. Not every guest we have on is bullish on Bitcoin. They don't want to talk about Bitcoin, but we got two guys that are on the podcast today that I would say are fairly bullish on Bitcoin. So I just want to talk about where has your mindset evolved with it, and where are you sitting at today with Bitcoin?
Yeah. So, we did podcast summer 2021. So, gosh, was that
Running
bull,
into
that
the
was
bull
running
run.
into a
Yeah,
bull
so it
market?
was-
So, probably like 10K or 15K.
Yeah. Running into that into November, December was the top, and then it peaked with the
So now
FTX
it's,
crisis.
What,
into,
120 now, 124
Yeah.
now, or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was mining Bitcoin back then, and then in when did we get out of mining? Was
this
it
past January.
so
technically.
past January? So 8 months ago, 10 months ago, something like that. We got out of mining Bitcoin just because our miners got old, just like any computer. A 5-year-old computer doesn't run as good as a modern computer today, and they became unprofitable. So we got out of that. But one thing I realized out of that is like you can make very similar money to owning the asset versus mining it, and then you don't have to deal with a physical asset. So I've been just on the train of just own Bitcoin, don't go mess with mining it. And so we got out of mining it. But I'm sure for some, like just like farming, when you start scaling in size, you start making better margins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but from the time you guys started mining, how many halvings was
we went
there?
through one halving.
Oh, one
Because I
halving.
mean, halving every 4 years.
Okay.
So the thing about mining too, which I've noticed is there's a lot more Bitcoin miners in Iowa. There's a lot. I don't know how many there are, but I'm guessing there might be over 100 different Bitcoin mine sites in Iowa. Seems like everybody's got a small town where
Cheap
there's
power.
where there's a Bitcoin miner going in or something like that. So and then since then it seems like, I mean, all these great, like a lot of great macro investors back pre-2020 were like against this thing. They were like, not touching this.
Yes.
Like this is a scam, blah, blah, blah. And then a lot of them are really rational guys that think through things, and they'll say, hey, I was wrong about a certain topic. I was wrong about this. Bitcoin may have a chance. It may have a small chance, but has a chance. So we've seen a lot of like, Ray Dalio, Howard Marks, like a lot of great investors come out and say, hey, I might've been wrong. Let's allocate just a small percentage to this thing. So I think that's been a huge macro change probably in the past 4 years that seems to happen. So, yeah. And when we look at the world, like, okay, so you have like your fiat currency, right? And we're just easing all the time. And it's like, okay, when are we ever going to pay off this debt? How does this look in 3 decades from now? What does the global reserve currency look like in 3 to 4 decades from now? Is it still US dollar? Does fiat money collapse? What is it? Well, there's probably a very small percent chance that it's a mixed type of money or something like that. And Bitcoin's in the running for one of those. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the next years. But I mean, super interesting to see our president just be behind it and everything.
Yeah.
So.
We had a conversation over lunch when I came up in your guys' neck of the woods. And, this was when Trump was talking about, we're going to cut the fat, we're going to cut the fat, we're going to quit printing money, all this stuff. And I was like, what if, with all this debt, what if the dollar does collapse? Like, do you think Bitcoin will take it over? And you said something like, we just got talking about it. And you said, Sawyer, when a crisis happens and whoever's in power and they have the pressure from the public that they need aid and they need money, is the president going to not print it, or are they going to print it? And I'm like, they're going to print it. And he's like, exactly. Yeah. They're not going to stop printing this money. Like it's not going to happen because their legacy is going to be tainted forever. If there's a crisis going on.
Yeah.
We're a society. So one of our great, one of the great benefits of America is that we're not a dictatorship. We aren't run by a king or whatever. But one of the downfalls is that we have put ourselves into a 4-year election cycle where every politician has grand ideas, morals, standards, whatever. But when you get put in that position, it is exactly what you guys were talking about. It's like what you want to do versus, are you going to have a full-scale mutiny on your hands?
Well, it's what's best for the country for the long run, or it's what's best for the country right now, because of the optics of whatever situation's going on and my legacy for these 4 years. And they're gonna pick the thing that's going to lift their legacy up in their 4 years.
Because we have built a society now that we're all squirrels.
Yeah, it's short-term pleasure, long-term pain. Like, no politician is ever going to get elected. I mean, Trump kind of did, saying, hey, we're going to balance the budget. We're not going to spend a single dollar. We're going to make life hell in the U.S. to get our fiscal and monetary responsibilities down even. Like, nobody wants that. I mean, we know we need it, but nobody's going to vote for that.
Everybody wants it.
Yes.
Everybody wants it.
So
until it affects their neighborhood.
Yes. So what does it look like when we have this easy money world? And I think we're going to continue going down this path. At some point, this fiat currency has to collapse.
Yeah.
And it could be 3 decades. It could be, 8 decades from now when it collapses. I don't know, but.
And you don't know, do you feel like Bitcoin has a chance to replace that? And this is just your thoughts. This is not financial advice, but do you feel like, Bitcoin has a chance of replacing that? Do you feel like people are just going to look at Bitcoin as just the gold, the gold of digital currency? Like, what do you think Bitcoin's role is if the dollar does collapse? What does it look like?
I think it's got a possibility. I think on a merit-based society, if a bunch of us sit down and say, okay, well, what is probably the best money? It's probably Bitcoin. You could probably say Bitcoin's probably the best money. Whether governments everybody's going to go on a Bitcoin standard, I'm not necessarily full bullish saying like that's going to happen. I think there's a small chance that happens, but I don't know if that happens. But there probably will be a good allocation of people running 5-10% of their portfolios of just owning Bitcoin.
It might just be the fastest horse in the race when nothing stops this train. Lynn Aldine, that's her saying. And so after this podcast, if you guys are interested by what we're talking about, there's like a 20-minute video. Lynn Aldine, she's a macro investor. The title of the video, just search it. Nothing stops this train. Really good kind of broad macro idea on what's kind of going on. And then the bull case on Bitcoin right at the end. So that's cool to watch and kind of wrap your head around it. And so one idea too is Bitcoin might demonetize all their assets. And so money might flow. You might not see it nominally. But when you price things in Bitcoin, land's gotten cheaper. So over the past 10 years, land's gotten a lot cheaper if you were storing your wealth in Bitcoin instead of USD. Now land's up 60% since COVID. Everything's up a bunch since COVID, since whenever the printer turned on. Then we need to ask the question, why did Bitcoin go up the fastest? I understand it's still early, only a $2 trillion market cap right now versus other assets like gold is 10 or something. So to match that, we got to go up. Gold's up 70% on the year. So to catch gold, you got to go even higher. But why? Trying to answer the question, why did it go up? Why is, maybe it's, in some people's opinion, the crazy money, the gamblers' money is going towards Bitcoin. Well, that might have been the case in 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. But now we're sitting here in 2025 and you have the president. Think of whatever you want of him. And in the end, there's going to be a bull market. There's going to be a bear market. They call it the crypto winter. Right now in the cycle, we're Q4 2025. This is the time Bitcoin's supposed to go up 2, 3, 4x. People are calling 500K Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. There will be another bear market. It might come from Trump getting crazy with it. And then Trump's like, hey, we're hands off. It crashes 80%. Super volatile, but usually volatility is something you want, especially when you're getting into something, and you can kind of play that. We were lucky. We both went to Iowa State, and the only classes that I was ever interested in was econ and finance, and so that's what I ended up getting my degree in. Grant was ag economics. So this was something, Bitcoin's just a really interesting, I always liked history classes. Bitcoin's a very interesting history lesson if you kind of go down the rabbit hole, understand it, and you kind of changes your mind a little bit. And then it kind of helps just understand over history how people stored their wealth. If you wanted to pass something on to your 3 generations into the future after you pass away, we have land. That's worked out pretty good. But if America's not going to get taken over, but if they did, you're kind of relying on a third party to make sure that your border is correct, that this 80 acres is in my name, there's deeds, there's all these things that we secure our land with. And so Bitcoin is one way where you can secure it on your own, and you don't have to rely on the government to protect your borders. If we got overrun, you own 1,000 acres, well, whatever country, these are bad talks, but whatever, and go all the way to the end of the line. Do you actually own gold? Somebody has to verify that it's real. is there gold in Fort Knox? Does the government actually own any gold? We need to go in there and physically verify it. We need to pay a security guard to stand outside Fort Knox. So there's different costs. And so Bitcoin's kind of the first. There's a lot of ideas. Bitcoin's, as big of an invention as the internet. Its adoption rate is faster than the iPhone. There's different things there. And so there's a bunch of calls for Michael Saylor, $27 million Bitcoin in 2037. There's crazy stuff out there. There will be there will be bear markets. Things will get crazy, and there'll be opportunities to pick up. Just like maybe the top in land was in 2023, and we're going to see over the next 5 years, 10 years, land come down. We
were going to go to Fort Knox, weren't we? Wasn't Trumpy going to go to Fort Knox?
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened. Remember, we had
gold?
this whole thing where he was going to go there. And
Tork, what's your prediction on Bitcoin? Because I know you were big into macro, or you probably still are big into macro and stuff, and you're following Raul Paul and with Macro Voices, or actually not Macro Voices. Was he run now?
Vision.
Real
Vision. Yeah. I mean, everything. There's two things that stick in my mind, and I think this gets lost. And I think this is an old, you get older, you think about this, but it is truly amazing to me how history just gets brushed. History becomes unpopular and people don't want to, it doesn't seem to have the meaning when people bring it up. But to your point, if you look as far back in history as you want, every society that created currency, many times it was based on gold or silver or some precious thing that had a limited supply. And then guess what? Every one of those societies needed more currency than what that precious item was that it was based on. So then they found a way to print it. The British did the exact same thing. Everything was based on silver. And then they went off the silver standard and then inflated the heck out of it. The United States and the world pretty much was on the gold standard, and then everybody went away from the gold standard because we needed more money, so we had to print it, and we couldn't have that much gold. And there is a great video, and I should just save it. I should post it. And I don't know who the guy is, and it's not very long, but this is at the kind of the height of the European currency meltdown when Greece, everybody was afraid Greece was going to basically go bankrupt, which they basically did. The EU bailed them out. But these two guys are sitting here, and the guy said, who owns Greece's debt? And he goes through the list of all the European countries that own Greece's debt. And then one of them is France. And he says, okay, well, how much debt does France have? Oh, this much. Well, who owns their debt? And it's so-and-so and so-and-so in Britain. How much debt do they have? And he goes in this whole circle, and it pretty much all goes back to Germany because Germany was the only country that actually had any money. The rest of the EU is broke. And then how much debt does Germany have? And then the end thing is, well, who owns their debt? Well, Greece owns their debt. And you realize that basically none of these countries have any money, and they're all completely sold out and indebted to the point that they'll never get their deficit paid off. And I remember the first time I saw that, and that's what drew me to Bitcoin, was the idea of the limited supply, and there'll never be more of it. And it's kind of a check on what we as societies are worse at, which is fiscal responsibility. When you elect people on your behalf, they should never be, the amount of compensation that they're going to receive should never be greater than what the real job was. And that's the way the United States used to operate. And then it switched to where now then we have politicians that want to be politicians because it's a more profitable venture than what they were doing in private life, if they ever did anything in private life. And so now then you're asking a group of people that are incentivized to stay in power and to increase their power to make the decisions that run us. I just think all of that to say, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. And I agree with you. I think that we're in a run right now. We had kind of like a pause where Bitcoin retreated. Some people took profit. And I don't know, you guys might, I have my own opinion about this, but like I think about how many people actually own Bitcoin as a store of value, that it is like they're going to hold it no matter what, and how many people are just speculating on it. And so like Jamie Dimon, a good example, like I love playing his one of his clips where he's just bagging on it just so hard, just it's the stupidest thing ever, da da da. Guess what? Now then they offer an ETF in Bitcoin. And so you just really, you have to build your own conviction.
Yep.
I mean, you have to literally go down the rabbit hole and educate yourself about how the world works money-wise.
Yep.
And how we just continually, I mean, government and people are no different than any other human than you and I, and we fail repeatedly, and society is the same way. The thing that is funny to me is every society, every generation, every group that has ever walked this earth think they're the smartest son of a bitches that have ever been around. I mean, the Romans, oh man, they had it dick. They were smarter than everybody else. They conquered the Egyptians. They built this. Nobody's ever going to touch them. The sun would never set. The sun would never set on the British Empire. You know, the United States was formed by divine providence. And we all think that we're smarter than everybody else until we're not. Mm-hmm. And to me, Bitcoin is a hedge against our own worst tendencies.
Yep. If the governments can print money,
that's
they
a really
will.
good way to put it.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's a great way.
And every currency fails. Every currency has failed through history.
Yeah.
I mean, even gold failed us as a currency in the United States.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know.
Well, in a way, it didn't technically.
Like Ray Dalio,
Ray Dalio's huge. Yeah, he flipped a switch the past year.
He has.
Well, I think a lot of people have flipped the switch. My thing with it is like I guess what I'm trying to rationalize in my head is, you know, how much of my wealth should go into Bitcoin versus how much of it should go in land versus how much of it should go into trying to build my own income up versus how much of it should go into the stock market. You know, like you hear people talk and they're like, this is the greatest wealth opportunity of our lifetime. Like go all in on Bitcoin. And I know that to become wealthy and to accumulate wealth, you need to make big bets, but I'm just not, I believe in Bitcoin. I think it has a place for our future. I just don't know enough about it to have the conviction to just be like, I'm only going to do this, and I'm only going to invest in this, and I'm only going to invest in Bitcoin. I just don't know enough yet to really.
I see your point. You're like, okay, even if Bitcoin does 50% a year, it's like, why don't I'm an entrepreneur by trade. I'm going to go create my own business, put all the money in that business. And then if one of those businesses takes off and I have a bunch of capital, that's when it's like, okay, let's start allocating a lot more to Bitcoin or something like that. I see exactly your point. It's like, why not go bet on myself?
Yeah.
I feel like you have to bet on yourself first.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. The best return on investment, especially starting out, is not going to be buying land, houses, Bitcoin, or anything. It's going to be betting on yourself and investing in yourself rather than other assets. So you have, whether it's going to school or paying $100 for an online course to figure out how to edit a video, whether it's paying $1,000 to a 3-month AI course right now to learn how to use every AI tool, or it's just not paying anything and just getting on YouTube. That's free. So yes, the best investment right now is not Bitcoin, not land, not houses. It's investing in yourself, and it's as cheap as it's ever been. Even though school, whatever school you're going to, is pretty expensive and tuition rates are super high. Well, the alternative is, YouTube University, or you can get on Twitter. You can curate your Twitter feed, pay the premium, get rid of ads, get rid of all the garbage on there. And you want to learn about real estate? Well, you can follow 100 people on Twitter, and they're going to walk through the whole thing. And half those people are just looking for investors to invest in their own project, but they're spilling all their beans on what they're doing. You want to learn about ag? There's ag Twitter. I know it's X now. I just keep saying Twitter. And you can follow 100 different farmers. And instead of just talking to your neighbor, you can now listen to 100 different people around America on what they're doing, how the harvest is. So that's the best return on investment by far. And there's more opportunity now today than any other time in history. So super optimistic versus there's a lot of pessimism.
Yeah, I would say that, like, I don't agree with the people that just like, I don't get Bitcoin. It's not tangible. I can't hold it. Therefore, I think it's stupid, and it's just not going to be a part of the future. And those people, I'm like, dude, go seek that out to make sure that you're right in that belief. You know, just saying, oh, I just don't know enough about it, so therefore I don't give a shit, and it's not going to have a future. That's not the right mindset. I do think that it's going to have a future in some capacity, and I think it's worth looking into to get the conviction whether you're going to be for it or not for it. Yeah. I mean, make that conviction for yourself. Say something, but I have a follow-up question for you.
You've been seeing Michael Saylor, right? In 2013, tweeted like Bitcoin's just internet gambling money or something along those lines. I forgot what it was, but just anti-Bitcoin. And then 2020 comes out, and then 21, 22, 23 just goes leveraged, like crazy leverage on his company. I mean, he's bet everything on this. And it's just interesting to see. It's interesting to see how everybody once starts off like, I'm not going to touch that. That seems like a waste. Seems like a scam, blah, blah, blah. And then you flip a switch. Yeah. Even my accountant, he was like, in 2020, I came in and we talked about Bitcoin stuff, and he was like, man, like, he didn't say much about it. And he was just like, this, it's not for me. And then, 2023, 2024 now, like, he's into it hard. He's texting me all these things. He's like, dude, I thought you were insanely crazy. I'm going to be honest. I thought you were one of my crazy clients. And he just flipped a switch and got into a lot more, and probably into it more than me. A lot more people are into it more than me that were once against it, I feel like.
But what's really interesting is and you were kind of predicting the next 3 months bull market for Bitcoin too. Retail is kind of out. Institutions are buying it. And so I don't have any friends or family texting. So absolutely no idea what's going to happen in the 3 months. Next 3 months, there's going to be a bear market, and probably it might be Michael Saylor selling all his coins because he went too leveraged. And you can, and it's going to be down 90% 2 years from now. Absolutely no idea. Yeah. But maybe it's down 90% off of 600,000. Absolutely no idea. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting.
To me, do you want to make your?
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask you guys, or Grant, and if you're not comfortable answering this, don't answer it. But how important was your investment into Bitcoin early on to helping you create the businesses or the farm ground or any of the stuff you're doing today? Was it a factor? Was it a big factor? How important was it?
I would say it wasn't that big. I've taken some. I've sold a little bit of Bitcoin when there's crazy optimism, when everybody's texting me, should I buy? When everybody taxi drivers telling you to buy, right? Yeah. I've sold some, and when stuff goes up 5x, 10x, like, you're like, okay, this can't go on forever. Need to take a little bit of profit. So I've taken some profits, but I've pretty much rotated that into one farm. That's it. Otherwise, I've pretty much like held everything else. So it's helped from a balance sheet standpoint, but it hasn't actually gone into funding a lot of stuff. I would say a lot of the YouTube income has gone into funding a lot of kind of the farming operation, software company, but really, like, when you don't sell a crazy amount, it's just almost one of those things on the balance sheet. Mm-hmm. And when you present it to a banker and you need to go buy something, right, that helps. But
you've basically used it the way you should use it. It's kind of your rock. It's kind of your base layer of your assets. Yep. Like, you use it like some people would use gold. You've held it, and your intention isn't really to sell it.
And some of the buys have been when it's down 80%, and it's like, this feels terrible to buy. This feels disgusting buying a product that's down 80%, but you know it's good to buy it when everybody's like, this is going to zero. I mean, that's when you should be buying it. And those have always been the best buys with it.
One of the most pleasurable experiences in my life is being a contrarian. Now, it doesn't always work out, but boy, I'll tell you what. I'll use this example. The first time I ever experienced it, and I didn't even realize what I was doing other than I just worked on a construction crew, when RJR Reynolds and Philip Morris was being sued by the United States government and their stock went to nothing. I mean, it was like $8. I think Philip Morris was a $120 stock. They owned Kraft. They owned it was this huge conglomerate, but it was a tobacco company. And I was working on a building crew with 6 guys. And on the news every day was this lawsuit. The United States government was suing RJR Reynolds and Philip Morris over cigarettes. And CNBC, they're going out. They're gonna have to sell everything. They're gonna go out. And every morning I would pick up a guy that was the foreman of this crew that didn't have a license because he'd lost it for drunk driving. And we'd stop at Come and Go, and he'd pick up 2 big slams of Mountain Dew and 2 packs of Marlboro Reds. Didn't matter what the price was. If he didn't have enough money, he didn't buy the Mountain Dew, but he always bought the Marlboro Reds. Every job site we went to, everybody walking around there smoking Marlboros. And I came home one day, and one of my friends of mine, we used to get Investors Business Daily. Paper come in the mail every day, rated all the stocks in the stock market, and we were day trading. Kind of day trading, not as much day trading as you could do in rural Iowa with dial-up internet, you know. And I had the internet bubble had happened, and I'd lost a bunch of money, and I didn't have a whole lot of my initial investment. And one day I was like, you know what? There is no freaking way that Philip Morris is going out of business because people don't care. They're going to keep smoking. And I bought it. And within 6 months, that all got settled, and guess what? That stock just went off. And that was the first time that I was like, you know, when you look around and everybody is saying something, chances are they're pushing a narrative, and it's not really that much that way. Yep. The second time was Tesla. Tesla was the one that just I didn't know anything about it, but everybody was just bagging on it. And so one day I just decided
2012, like what years was this?
20
I don't remember.
It was after it.
Okay.
This was after Model 3 had come out and he had made it out of the
so like 17, 18.
Yeah,
Okay,
right in there.
Okay, yep.
But it was before it, took off.
Yep.
It's before the split. It was before the split.
Yeah, before the first time it split. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to download the damn prospectus, and I'm just going to read the annual report and all that. And I actually read it, and I started going down a rabbit hole. And then I remember I said to my wife, I'm like, they're gonna freaking crush it. This deal is gonna work. Like, he knows what he's doing. And I remember telling my Edward Jones guy that I wanted to buy, X number of Tesla. He couldn't even sell to me. I had to sign a waiver.
Really?
I had to sign a waiver because Edward Jones was so anti-Tesla, like they weren't recommending it to any of their. And he's like, well, yeah, you can buy it, but you got to sign this.
And had you sat in a Tesla and drove one before
No,
the car?
heck no, I didn't need to.
No. Oh yeah. No.
That was before.
That's
That was
what's
before
interesting.
anybody bought it.
Is we had an uncle who bought, maybe this is 2013, a Model S, and maybe we sat in it in 2015. Yeah. And we sat in that car. Now I was 15 years old, didn't have a big perspective on the world, hadn't been in very many vehicles, but I still sat in that, and I was like, this is a spaceship. This is insane. Now I wouldn't have the conviction because I was 15 years old, but it's like being the contrarian. Just sit in the vehicle, don't think too much about it, and be like, this is the best car in the world. Yeah. It's driving itself. Look at this. This is crazy. So
yeah, but you have to have the conviction to make the buy, and then you also have to have the patience and conviction to hold even when it keeps going down, because you're not going to hit the exact bottom, or you're not going to sell the exact top. So you got to have that conviction to hold through. It could have been another year or two until Tesla actually took off, probably.
Yeah, and now I realize I didn't buy a car company. And I don't think when it's all said and done, that's not what's going to make it. That's not what's going to make it as big of a part of our society as what I think it'll ultimately end up being. Is if you look at AI, Tesla not only is making the chips, but has probably the biggest cluster for AI learning. Like to me, I didn't see Grok coming. I didn't see that would be. I didn't see that being a player in the AI, but I think it is. And then you take that and you think about having that learning in the robot and then licensing the software for all, because nobody else is going to get to full self-driving before they do. I don't think anybody has a chance. I think that Chevrolet and Ford and everybody else will give up because they're just bleeding money. One, they don't have any money.
Okay, well let's wrap it around here and just go back a little bit to farming. Where are you guys? I know you guys are pretty much optimistic about a lot of stuff, but the state of farming where we're at today in agriculture, what are you excited about? What are the things you're most optimistic for? And what are the things that you're a little worried about in the world of farming moving forward?
Ooh.
I mean, just realistically, commodity prices are low. In a month or two, I'll come out with a video on 50 acres, have soybeans. I'll break down my input costs, my land costs, and I'm sure I'll lose quite a bit on a per acre basis. So in terms of that sense, for the past 2-3 years, been lower times in terms of just farm income. For me and stuff, this is just a part-time deal, so it's not the end of the world. And again, I reached on earlier, my first land I bought was in 2023. That's probably the top in our next 8-year window. And so, yeah, just, I mean, it's not, I'm in a position where it's not over leveraged and it's a very weekend warrior thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of optimism, just on our personal thing, is just this first harvest was we really actually got going and felt like we were getting somewhere, doing something, a team. We had, my wife was like in the grain cart for a couple days. Grant was in the combine. I was hauling. So that was,
you really enjoyed
that
the
was
process.
fun.
The actual doing, the actual day to day. Enjoy the process.
We actually, this was the first full year where we thought we got something done and we weren't, what's next? And
yeah, as far as future, I mean, right now it doesn't look like amazing to be optimistic about, but for a young farmer, like it's going to be a little bit easier to expand. I mean, when tough times happen, this is where you can, if you're aggressive, you can really
the opportunities come up.
Hopefully expand. I shouldn't prey on tough times, but optimists to look at like, hey, there's going to be some opportunity. There's going to be some guys that are like, okay, probably done here. I'm going to retire. I'm going to let somebody else take over. So those are times. And then, right, like if farmland comes down, it's a little easier to afford a job or afford a farm, especially if you're working an outside job. So like, yeah, I guess, if tough times happen, you can get a little more aggressive. Because when the good times happen, 2020 through 2024, it's a lot tougher to expand, right?
Yep.
Like
You aren't getting hold of anything because nobody's going to let anything go.
Exactly. So like, that's one thing as a young farmer, I shouldn't say it, but the honest truth is you should probably look for a little tougher times because there's going to be probably some opportunities that come up in those tougher times. So that's just the kind of optimist in me selfishly, I guess.
Well, the other simple thing is there's going to be less of us. I mean, that average age of farmers it's going to catch, and everybody talks about it, but it keeps happening. I mean, all you got to do is go to your local seed corn dinner and look around, and the number of people that don't have white hair or have hair, very few. So there's going to be a lot of land that's going to have to move over the next few years.
And I think if you do a good job and if you just can create normal relationships, do a good job, I mean, you're just going to grow. It's going to happen that you're just going to continue growing with the amount of land that's going to be transferred, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the end of the day, it needs the pencil too if you're going to grow.
Yes, you're right. Yep.
But it takes 2, 3, 4, and we were talking about cycles and investing and stuff. Usually, right, the land cycle is every 60 years. So you had the homestead, like the mid 1800s. Then you had, what was it? The 1930s, and then you had the 1980s. So it was 60-year cycles. We're 40 years from the 80s. 45 years from the 80s. So
2040 would be on a 6-year cycle. I think
would be where land prices correct and come down. We aren't wishing pain in anything on anybody's operation or lifestyle, but we're trying to talk to the young person that's wanting to get it started. And when land prices are coming down, but the curve is a lot bigger. 6-year cycle, you only have one opportunity, and if even one opportunity, that you're never going to buy the bottom. But yeah, that's the optimism, is things might pencil better in 5 years than they do now. And maybe it's 3, 4, or 5 years of pain. And maybe in the long run, we're better off. I have no idea. Yeah. No idea.
It's hard to know. I mean, I think the big things people talk about on here is just, it's harder. Inputs continue to rise, land prices continue to rise, machinery goes up.
Yep.
It's harder to make a buck farming, but I think that could change, like you said, if land prices go down. I mean, that one thing alone can change the cash flow of your operation. Yep. Machinery equipment will go down. The inputs, I don't know if they'll come down. It seems like every time there's a bailout for farmers, the government gives farmers money. Those companies just raise their prices even more. They continue to rise every year. But I think diversification of your farming operation, diversification of outside businesses. I think the conversation of running your farm like a business and like maybe a family office kind of starts to be talked about more and more, because I think it's just not as profitable as it once was. But there's so much value in owning the land, owning the assets, having that leverage, tax benefits, etc. So
people need to. I mean, the role of farm is going to have to change. More and more people run a farm. Instead of the farm being the stool, the farm is one leg of the stool.
Yeah,
having multiple businesses, and
you're saying now the farm is the stool.
Yeah,
but they need to have it as
it needs to be one leg.
One leg. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no better way to launder money than through a farming operation.
I guess. Yeah, I just think people are stuck on it being the stool, right? Because that's how it was growing up. Grandpa, I mean, that's how it was. Everybody could make a damn good living, farming hundreds of acres, and that's all you had to do.
Yep.
And it's just so much has changed, so much has changed. So yeah, it's just interesting to see where it'll end up. But I think you're right. There's a lot of opportunity for young people.
Okay, question for everybody here. If you could go farm in one decade, let's assume the 80s wasn't terrible. What decade would you go farm in? Would you go farm in 2000, 2010, or would you go farming back in the 60s or 50s? Or would you farm today? Assuming they all made the same amount of money.
Oh, I'd farm this.
You'd farm today.
I'd farm in the 70s.
You'd farm, okay, 70s.
If I was raising pigs.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I probably will say the same thing, because, I think the guys in our county that are crushing it raised pigs, got ahead of it, built fast, scaled, and they're in a fantastic position now, and they've carried it on for a long time. So,
well, that's such a hard. If I knew what I know now,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you could build a juggernaut,
but
because you were right at the point where labor, leverage, and management all kind of converge. Because before the mid 70s, if you were a good farmer, it came down to how many hours did you want to work? Because if you wanted to sit on that 40-20 long enough to farm those extra acres, you could make more money.
Yep.
It was all, if you wanted to farrow 200 sows versus 160 sows, well, if you just wanted to haul that many loads of manure and that many loads of feed and that many loads of water, I mean, how much did you want to work? But then right there was when technology came to where, okay, I could farm an extra 80 acres, and I could do it in the same amount of time. I could actually do it in less time. I could farrow 40 more sows, but it really didn't take me any more time because I put those sows inside and I had an automated feed system, whatever. And then it was actually like people started to, hey, I'm actually gonna keep track of whether this field that I rented over here, what the yield was versus this, and what this hybrid, did I actually make more money by paying whatever I paid to Billy Bob to rent that? I mean, it was when all that started. And so if you saw that shift, oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Like shooting fish in a barrel.
I mean, I don't know. That's pretty hard to compete with that answer. I guess I really haven't thought hard about that, but yeah, I just knowing where we live and knowing the guys that made it and had a really successful operation today, a lot of it was built on hogs in this county. And so I would definitely ride the wave when that was good. And if you had the knowledge to know what was coming, then you could pivot and make the right decisions to ride the lows of the market. But
yeah, sometimes I get down, I get in my own head about, where we're at and farming what we farm and all that. But then I think about it and I'm like, but we're still farming.
Yep.
And when I drive down the road and I think of all the people, all the families that sold the farm, gave it up, whatever, moved off. And this is a number, I said this on a prior episode somewhere, but this is something for you guys to think about. I would love to know, and you might be able to come up with this because you're brighter than I am. You might be able to come up with this, definitely. So I would like for somebody to get the formula of when a family farm is sold, and, land prices are what they are, but you've held all that value in that farmland. When that family sells that asset and they get that big windfall, how long does that wealth last before it's just scattered to the wind in taxes and stuff that doesn't return money? I'd like to know, because my guess is it doesn't last very long. And it goes to your point about, like we were talking about, a forced savings account. There is all this wealth out in this country of farmland owned by families, and a whole bunch of it is going to get turned over. How long is that wealth going to last within that family? And my guess is not very long.
No, I fully agree.
probably won't last to another generation.
Not even to another generation.
No.
Where does it go? Where do most people that when their parents die, they go sell the farm and they live in California, New York? Where does it usually go? I'd be very curious on that too. Does it all go to equities? Does it all go to residential real estate? What does it go to?
I think it goes to
goes to a boat in the Ozarks.
Yeah,
I think do, baby.
I think it's all the shit. I think we live in a day. I mean, it might not be. It's hard to know, but because I bet there are some smart cats that they sell the land, their parents pass away, and they're smart. They got an expertise in another field, and they deploy that in the way that they know how. But I'm sure there's a hell of a lot, probably majority, where they're spending that money on upgrading their lifestyle, upgrading their life for them in this present moment. Because we live in a day and age where it's right now. Keep up with the Joneses. How I look on Instagram, it's all about YOLO. Just enjoy. So I would say probably a lot of people spend it.
I'll ask you. I guarantee you're 100% right, because I'll ask, you guys are all young, so I'll ask you this: what do you think in the United States today is the average balance of a retirement account of a 65-year-old person? What do you think the average balance is?
That's hard. I don't know.
80,000. 80.
Oh, I'll go 37K.
Damn, that's low. You went 80?
65-year-olds.
Well, it's gotta be low. There's no way it's gonna be crazy high.
Yeah,
no
if
ways.
you're taking the average
American
65-year-old
65-year-old person that's ready to retire, average retirement savings.
The zeros got to bring it down hard,
That's what I would say too. I mean, I'll go in the middle. I guess I'll say like $55,000.
$10,000.
Okay.
Holy shit.
So that answers your question. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot
very
of people
little
invest.
money that is.
But do you feel like our generation, though, is a lot more mindful
100%.
because of just the information?
Well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that because I was just talking to a young person the other day.
I guess it's hard when when our For You pages and our YouTube feeds look like they do versus I don't know what majority of 25-year-old.
Well, a lot of young people feel like that the deck is stacked against them because housing has never been higher as far as trying to buy a first-time home. The stock market's at highs where, okay, am I investing at the top to where it's just going to drop and, or is it going to keep going? And everything is more expensive. I'm struggling. So there is a lot of people that they're more focused on experiences than they are on assets. In other words, I'm going to take the vacation rather than make a mortgage payment. I'm just going to rent. We're just going to rent.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a I get polarizing. I get polarized just looking at content. It seems there's this one camp of young people that are like, I'm going to go enjoy my 20s because you only live once and we're just in the matrix and we really nothing, they're nihilists. Mm-hmm. Nothing matters. No one's going to remember me after I die, whatever. Then you have the other side that is
legacy,
buy assets, legacy, investments, building businesses, etc.
Delayed satisfaction.
Yeah, delayed gratification, satisfaction. So I don't know. Maybe that number will go up as time goes on because I believe that the younger generation's more. There's just more information to know what to do. As far as like, it's not hard to open a retirement account and S&P 500, index funds. Like it's not hard. But who knows? We'll see how that plays out. But.
Yeah, one thing I wrestle with, and we were talking about just the past and mentioning, what is it? Yeah, 6 years of the average American income right now it takes to buy your first house. We're back in 50 years ago. It was maybe it's 7 years now. It was 4 years then. You have to work for 4 years in 1960, and you can buy your house all cash. So let's just say if you saved every penny you made, had no expenses, and so it is more affordable when you run those numbers. And then I also cater to it. Maybe you could you graduated high school, you could work in a factory, you could do something, and it's one income, not two, and different things like that. It was a little more affordable. But then I'm also, and I have no answer here. I'm just kind of throwing out a question almost. Today, anybody can kind of start from nothing and build something where if you want to, like we're doing this podcast right now, if you want to start a podcast, you had to know the guy who owned the studio. You had to be, your uncle had to own it and let you come on. So those were kind of the only opportunities where now you can, like we were started in our parents' basements pretty much, and you can kind of build something. So I wrestle with that because not everybody can do that. Where back in the day, 80% of people, if you do A, B, C, D, here's your outcome. Personally, me, I'm more attracted to you do A, B, C, D. There is no guaranteed outcome, but the upside is infinite and the downside zero. So I don't know what's better for society there. There is an argument to say better for society that it's a little more guaranteed outcomes and there's less volatility. Mm-hmm. But to not have the upside and the freedom and the opportunity we have today, that's also demoralizing a little bit too. So I don't know. What is the best situation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is hard. That's a good thought. More opportunity than ever before, but it's harder to get started as a young person than it's been in a long time. So
well, the answer is just
keep playing Farm Simulator and American Farming.
Well, yeah, just go buy a steak, cook it up, and play American Farmer and think about it. That's the answer.
Yeah, go buy some Hilbert beef. Get your phone out.
Yep.
Play some American Farming.
Yep.
Maybe watch Grant and Spencer's YouTube channel.
Listen to a podcast.
Get inspired. Listen to a podcast. Yep. And you might figure it out.
You might.
Little Gary V doesn't hurt.
Little Gary V. Gary V. Little Alex Ramosi.
Your Grant I hadn't seen it, the video where you called into Gary V and whatever year
Yeah, I
that
remember
was.
that. That was like 5 years ago, probably, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah, that was COVID. I think that was 2020. So that was I grew up, and he was kind of one of the first people that I know. When people hear Gary Vee, I think a lot of people they have a
Absolutely.
misconception that
Oh, yeah.
he's just a grifter.
Okay,
But
yep,
if you really get down to the bare bones of him, he is an operator. He's built real shit.
Yep.
He just has a content team so big that you just see him everywhere and it gets annoying. But the dude is a savage. Like, he is
Absolutely.
a beast entrepreneur. And, you know, anything marketing related, that guy knows what's coming. He is on it. He's got it. And, you know, when COVID happened, that's when people started to have a text community where you could like get text from whatever they're up to. And he started this show called Tea with Gary Vee.
Mm-hmm.
They did every morning because it was COVID. Nobody's going to the office. And so they just said, text that number with your question and get on the show. So I just texted it every day for like a couple months. And then they finally got back to me and said, okay, yeah, great. So then I got on and asked him a question. The question I asked him was, I asked him two questions. I asked him about starting a meat business off the back end of my audience. And he like lit my fire on that and made me feel good about that and optimistic. Like, yeah, do it.
You were supposed to send him the tongue.
No, the snout. He said he grew up eating pig snout because I think he grew up in a Russian household.
Yep.
And so it was a delicacy or whatever. And then I asked him just about the loneliness of entrepreneurship and like how, because at that time, I didn't go to college, went right in the operation, doing this YouTube thing, like want to start a business, don't know how to do it. And then like, there's nobody around. Like there's no community, right? It's lonely. You guys know.
Oh, definitely.
And so I asked him that question too. But yeah, he's definitely a good resource for people to listen to. I think the YouTube long form stuff for him is really good because that's where he gets down to like the meat and potatoes of his frameworks and thought process of where the world's going. But the clips are more that you see on Instagram. I feel like that's where he has a tainted stigma because of that.
But at that time, he was one of the first guys.
Oh yeah.
That was like brought back brutal honesty.
Yep.
Like his keynotes from back then are just so savage.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what drew me to it.
Yep.
It was like, it's just so common sense and so like,
well, I mean,
quit being a
his
whiny little.
books, those books about. He started on YouTube before anybody. Like
Was
he
it
started one of the
2008?
Like 08.
yeah, one of the first shows on YouTube.
There's
Yeah.
a clip of him saying people are going to make 50 grand a year off YouTube, and then that's going to be their full-time job, talking about Star Wars and find a niche. And
I mean,
He was probably the first on that trend.
oh man,
You say, was there anybody before him that was like really like, okay?
I just feel like he saw what was coming before anyone. And I mean, he's also his personal investments into companies. Like he was an early investor in Twitter, early investor in Uber. He's invested money in Facebook. Like, because when he started talking about all that stuff,
nobody else was.
He became kind of a specialist and an expert, and he got into doors with people and met Zuckerberg. He had met the guy that started Uber, and he was able to invest some money into those companies too.
But he does get you a good mindset. It's very good and
Yeah.
different and gets you fired
Every
up.
entrepreneur first needs that mindset right when they get started. I feel like, yeah,
for sure.
100% agree.
Yeah, because you feel like you're alone.
Yeah.
And when you listen to him, you're like, yep. I mean, he just checked all the boxes. You're like, yeah, okay, for sure.
So then I try and compare today. Now you can put earbuds in, listen to Gary Vee, who's in your corner. Maybe you're in a household where there is no entrepreneurial spirit or even get after it spirit, get to work. And, you know, you just have a rougher upbringing. Well, now instead of just being by yourself, you can put somebody in your ears who's going to get you going. So again, I'm trying to just compare to the past. Some people are like, today's the worst time ever. And I just think today's the best time ever and probably will only get better in the future if you look at it that way. And then also his big thing was like in 2008, he has a clip, and I mentioned this earlier, somebody, you know, you can make a living talking about what you really love. So somebody's not going to pick on an accountant here, but maybe they don't want to be an accountant, but that's just what they did. They did A, B, C, D, went to school. But now, and like what we did after school from 4 p.m., 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., we worked on what we were really passionate about and what we saw, what we wanted to grow. So now there's the opportunity to do that. And if you're super passionate about NFL football. There's a million guys in their basement right now with a camera acting like breaking down Saturday morning or Sunday morning what the games are going to be like, and they're making a decent amount of income off that, doing what they love, and that's probably the real meaning to life, is doing what you love. So now there's opportunity to do that where there wasn't 50 years ago. So
it used to be that knowledge was the key to success, because like you've talked about, the guy that had the newspapers, the guy that he knew.
No, it was like speed of information.
Yeah.
It was Rockefellers. They owned they owned a newspaper.
So they got the news before anybody else. Yeah. So they could act on it. Today, to your point, knowledge has never been cheaper. It's free. Knowledge is free. It's the execution. It's what you do with that knowledge. That's what sets people apart. Is it's not just, you can go find anything that you want to be, anything you want to do. It's just, will you do what it takes, discipline, to execute?
100%. I was going to ask you guys about AI, but I feel like we're running pretty long. So, OpenAI just released, what was it? Sana. They just released a new video platform that basically pumps out video AI like a mofo. And as a content creator, it does worry me a little bit. And I didn't know if you guys felt the same way, but because, man, I think in 3 years, a lot's going to be different, especially on social media and being a content creator. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that get displaced. And I think we got to be thinking about how we can adopt it.
You think AI is going to take over, how's that going to, what's your thought process?
I listened to a guy on this podcast called Open Residency, and he's like an AI content creator expert. And his niche is like anything new in AI. He makes a video on it, explains it, breaks it down, shows it. He says by 2028, there will be guys that will be able to have a Google document that lays out exactly what kind of videos you want AI to make for you with yourself, your tone of voice, everything. And it'll be an automated funnel where one software will be able to take that Google document, make different variations, and then post it. And be able to post. It costs you, right now, he said you can do it right now, but it's not as good. It's not as great yet as far as getting you viral and being a 10 out of 10 piece of content. And it costs about $4 a piece of content. But he said in 3 years, it'll probably cost you 50 cents. And as AI learns, every single video that it pumps out is going to be a 10 out of 10 video that's going to perform extremely well on the platforms. And he said, so people got to get used to the fact that you're no longer going to be competing against real people.
Yep.
You're going to be competing against bots. You're going to be competing against people that have set up automated funnels to post their content, and they're all 10 out of 10 pieces of content that are going to perform really well.
We're going to be fine, Sawyer.
So that's I think people really need to.
Okay, do you think 10 years from now, this podcast is going to be able to be, do you think AI is going to take over this podcast 10 years from now? Like, you guys aren't going to be sitting here?
I don't know. I don't know enough yet to know.
I think there's a chance. There's obviously a chance.
There's definitely a chance.
Just trying to figure out how it plays out.
There's definitely a chance, and that's the thing that scares me is just, I'm all about longevity, and we're all about sustainability, right? And doing something long enough and not getting displaced. And I think that's everybody's worry with AI. And so I think content creators, there's a storm coming. My optimism, though, kicks in saying that I think people still want real human content.
Yeah.
But this new OpenAI app that just came out 2 days ago, I mean, they're having videos of Michael Jackson doing a comedic stand-up bit you can't even tell that it's not Michael Jackson. And there's a video of, there's videos popping off and going super viral on social media that are all AI generated right now.
It's funny because I go back to Naval and him saying creativity is going to be the one thing that will never be able to be replaced with AI. Naval's been ahead of a lot of people on a lot of stuff. We go back to it and it's like, man, maybe AI will take over creativity too. Like, it may happen. It probably will.
That's scary. Because
Yeah.
I think as a human race, got to have that creativity part.
Yeah.
But hey, at least we're farming. People
Yeah.
are still going to need to eat. So that's what I go back to.
Yep, and I haven't been able to get that Tesla bot to chore for me yet. I
Yeah.
keep waiting, but
Waiting for Elon to give us a demo on that.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So I think I can always chore pigs.
There you go.
Okay. Well, what do you guys got going? What do you want to hopefully achieve by the end of the year? What's next for you guys here coming up?
Gosh, not too much. Next 3 months, I want to get some things organized. I feel like we've been running around with our heads cut off a little bit from transitioning our farmland, just moving into this shed here. This isn't organized. Like 2 or 3 years ago, I got my truck stolen and all my tools were in it, and they broke it into a shed. And so like I haven't regrouped. So just so I just need to get my things organized. That's just on my top of my to-do list next 3 months.
Probably a goal too is there's one video Spencer made. It was like the past 700 or whatever it is, 2 years farming. Basically, he put like a 2-hour video together.
Yep.
Well, I was like, okay, Spence, could you edit a video of mine the past 4 years of the past 4-year farming? Put together like a 1-hour video of the past 4 years or 5 years of farming. Put that all together and get it out because that's one thing on the list we've always talked about doing. But
Yeah.
that's
Take
probably
all,
something we should do.
all
Before
his
the end.
videos from day one to today. Somebody who's new to the channel, new to our story or whatever, can just watch this hour, 45-minute long video,
Oh,
and
that's
you're
awesome.
up to date, and kind of just share the journey there. So we haven't really done a good job on that. I feel like we've been running around kind of spread thin. Organizing, focus, get our things done, and just keep making my job or what I enjoy doing is trying to make really high quality YouTube videos for the channel and stuff. And then I started my channel like 2 years ago and everybody's making farming videos. How do you be different? And so one example was, I just showed like how much farming was made. And then even on that video, it got like 8 million views and I showed exactly how much that made on YouTube AdSense. So, kind of just going into the mindset of maybe you can beat AI by actually trying to AI is not providing value to the viewer. It's just junk. Like you said, maybe it's actually a real person showing real things, and maybe you're better off because AI is the other option, or it's you. And everybody went the easy route, has AI make their videos, and the content creator that sits down actually provides quality. So that's what I'm trying to work on, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Not too much.
Yeah.
Not too much.
But
Yeah. I'd say a little bit though.
and your game, you're really excited about that, working on it, or building the
Software
company and stuff.
Yep.
And that's been a big chore for you. And then we just work together on farming. So
Sounds like you got enough going on. Well, we appreciate the hell out of you guys for making the trip. You guys are stand-up guys. I admire what you guys do. I think you guys are gonna keep killing it, and you always know I'm a phone call away. I always love talking to you guys. I'm glad you guys made it to the barn. So we're gonna wrap it up. If you guys got any value from the show, please share it out with the people that you know. Leave a review on Spotify or Apple. Go buy some Hilbert Farms fresh raised beef on farmergrade.com right now. It's live. I don't know how long it's going to last. When it sells out, it sells out. You can always use code BARNTALK to save 10% off your order. We love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.